Do you ever feel like life is just too much to handle? Like everything is moving too fast and you're just trying to keep up? If you've ever felt lost, or like you're struggling to find peace in all the chaos, you're not alone. There's an old way of thinking called Stoicism that's all about finding calm and strength, no matter what life throws at you. The Stoics said, "Life is all about how you handle what happens to you." It means that even when things outside of us go wrong, we can still find peace inside. This guide is here to show you how. It's like a map to help you become stronger on the inside so you can face anything on the outside. Are you seeking ways to remain composed and resilient through life's challenges? Interested in understanding how to concentrate on aspects within your reach while releasing concerns beyond your control? If you found yourself here, it's a sign you're in pursuit of transformation. You're exactly where you need to be. This moment marks the beginning of your journey towards achieving a state of inner calm and mastering the art of living with purpose and poise. You've initiated the process of cultivating a more peaceful and commanding presence in your own life. Have you ever felt like you were going to blow up during a heated argument? Whether it's a fight at work, with a friend or family member, or on the internet, we've all been there. But what if I told you there was a way to deal with disagreements that didn't involve fists? Stoics, who lived in ancient times and were great at controlling their emotions and using reason, have amazing advice on how to face your enemy with grace and poise. Based on the ideas of great minds like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, we will now talk about 13 Stoic ways to deal with disagreement head-on. Trust me, these methods may take more time and patience than punching someone, but the benefits, peace of mind, long-lasting answers, and maybe even new relationships, are well worth it. First, you need to get to know your enemy better. Imagine you are on the edge of a very angry river. The rapids are roaring and roiling with anger. If you were a smart Stoic, you would wait before jumping in and look down at the deep below, not at the surface that is moving. The first Stoic strategy is all about getting into your opponent's head. To use a figure of speech, the seriousness of the situation makes it tempting to move quickly. To really understand something, though, you have to stop judging it and look deeper than what it seems to be about. It's not the event itself that bothers us, but how we think about it, as Epictetus says. To begin this look at Stoicism's benefits of letting go, take a deep breath, mentally stretch out, and look at the situation with an open mind. Consider yourself a fly on the wall and listen to the conversation without taking sides. This mental separation makes it easier to observe and think more clearly. Instead of making cases against them, find out why they are doing what they are doing. Focus on finding out why they say and do the things they do. What motivates them, what worries them, and what do they want? What events in their lives have changed how they feel? Questioning people with open-ended questions like, "What brought you to this point?" can help you learn important things. Or, "What are your main worries?" Look at it through their eyes, not with agreement, but with empathy. Put yourself in their shoes to understand their point of view, not to agree with what they're doing. How do you think they might see the situation? How do their beliefs and values drive them? The goal of this task is to help you understand how they feel, find common ground, and see the world through their eyes. Don't agree with them. Instead, find the hidden riverbed. Look at what's really going on. Arguments are often caused by deeper issues like unmet needs, fears, or hurts from the past. You might want to look past the current fight and figure out what the real problems are that are causing the conflict. What do you want to get done? What fears are coming up? Remember that this is an attempt to understand their behavior, not to agree with it. Just like a scientist looks at the layers of rock to figure out the environment. Your goal is to understand the layers of experience and view that make up your opponent's actions. By using this Stoic method to look for common ground, you might find it, and you might also learn important things about yourself and how you react. The once raging river will calm down and have stones that are carved with knowledge and possible solutions. Number 2. Pick your fights well. There are many disagreements in life, from political disagreements to disagreements in parking places. But the Stoics say that only a few stones in the way need our full attention. Getting involved in every fight, no matter how small, can make us feel tired. So, the second Stoic strategy tells us to be careful about which fights we take. Picture yourself in front of a huge battlefield. Every disagreement and argument has the potential to turn into a fight. A smart Stoic would take a moment to carefully consider each situation before jumping into the fight. Should we fight? Will this battle hurt my health or the things that are most important to me? The following ideas from Stoic thought will help you decide which fights to fight. The Seneca test: think and stop. The greatest remedy for anger is delay, said Seneca. Remind yourself how important it is to pause. Give yourself a moment to calm down before you react automatically. Take a step back and look at the situation without bias. It's normal for the stress of the moment to cloud our judgment, making it hard to make smart choices. The Epictetus question is still important. Epictetus said, "It is not the event itself that stresses us, but our view of it." Think about this important question for yourself. How does this debate really affect your values, health, or something important in your life? Or is it just a bothersome issue, a problem that needs to be solved instead of a rock to be climbed? Focusing on things that are really important will help you deal with them more effectively and with more focus. The Marcus Aurelius concept says that being quiet can be helpful sometimes. Recognize the power of letting go. Marcus Aurelius said that sometimes the best thing to do is to not make a choice at all. Most of the time, it's fine to keep quiet and let things go. Not arguing about small slights or choosing not to get into useless fights can be very self-controlled ways to keep your cool. How to do a cost-benefit study of Stoicism. List the pros and cons. Every fight costs you in terms of mental work and possible results. Think about how losing the argument might make you feel and how winning might make you feel. Is the price of victory worth it? Knowing when to give up with grace is sometimes the greatest form of strength. Remember that picking your fights wisely doesn't mean you're weak or don't care. It means you know how limited your time and energy are and make good use of them. You may be able to stay focused on life's fight and save your strength for the moments that matter if you use this Stoic information. Third, be cool and clear when you speak. Picture yourself facing your enemy with your words ready for battle instead of your weapons drawn. The Stoic way, on the other hand, stresses calm clarity, which makes it possible for a more helpful conversation. The idea behind this strategy comes from Stoic thinkers like Seneca. Instead of yelling insults and charges, you should clearly state your needs and concerns to help others understand and reduce aggression. The following are the important parts of speech that are influenced by Stoicism. Improve your active listening skills. Don't just wait for someone to speak. Listen carefully to what the other person says before you speak. Please pay close attention to what they say and how they act. Do not talk over them. Instead, nod your head and keep eye contact. This lets them know you care and that you understand what they're saying. Show understanding, not agreement, by validating their feelings and experiences. Don't judge their thoughts and feelings, even if you don't agree with them. Saying things like, "I get how frustrated you are," or "This seems like something important to you," can help you connect and build a relationship. Any worries you have about I words should be brought up. Think about your point of view instead of blaming others. Instead of negative you comments, Use I words to talk about your wants and feelings. You could say something like, "I need to feel respected in this situation," or "I feel hurt when you do this." To lower defensiveness and encourage a more team-based approach to problem solving, speak firmly but quietly instead of fiercely. Quiet down the noise. It makes you strong. Don't speak up because you're mad. Do it to make sure you understand. Keep your cool while speaking with confidence and power. Do not abuse or attack people personally. This will only make things worse. First, solve the questions, then count the points. Try to find answers instead of wins. Remember that the goal is to find a way to work together that works for both of you, not to win the argument. What can we do to deal with this together is a good way to start a conversation about how to solve problems together. How can we come to an agreement that works for both of us? Remember that maintaining calm and clear speech is an important skill to have. Have patience with yourself and don't be afraid to say sorry if you mess up. The more good contact you have, the easier it will be to get through even the hardest jobs. Fourth, look for the road that everyone is on. Imagine two mountain climbers going up what at first glance look like different peaks, but as they go up, they realize that their paths will eventually meet and lead them to a shared top where they can better understand each other. This image fits perfectly with the fourth step of our non-confrontational journey, looking for a path that everyone can use. The image stands for the Stoic idea of living in balance with nature. As Stoics say, conflict can make it seem like our goals or ideals are at odds with each other, but they urge us to look deeper and find the deeper currents that connect us, even if they don't seem important at first. By focusing on these shared goals, we can set up a way to work together and find common ground, which will lead to a more peaceful resolution. Step 1 in your silent search for common ground is to shift your focus from me to we. This means going beyond individual points of view. Instead of a you vs me argument, see the difference as a chance to work together toward a shared goal. Think about this. What do we both want in the end? This shift in point of view opens the door to possible areas of agreement, even if they aren't clear at first. Find the things you need below. People often have conflicting wants because their needs aren't being met. Check to see what needs each of you is trying to meet by fighting. It could be a need for safety, respect, or acceptance. Realizing these basic needs can help people understand each other better and make it easier to find ways to meet those needs. Find thoughts that people have in common. What we do is based on our beliefs. Instead of focusing on the problem at hand, look into the basic ideas that everyone shares. Do you both value fairness, honesty, or morality? When you have shared values, they can guide you to make choices that are in line with your views. Start slow and build up speed. Take pleasure in small wins. Don't think that everyone will agree on everything right away. Instead, focus on finding small areas where you agree, even if they seem unimportant. These early decisions can boost confidence and energy, which can make it easier to take on bigger problems. Remember that life is a trip, not a goal. Patience is crucial. It might take a while to get along, so be patient and understanding. Don't be hard on yourself when you fail. Remember that every step toward unity is a step away from conflict. When you used this Stoic method, you went beyond simple answers. You try to find a standard path by making sense of the links between your events and planning for a better future. Remember that the height of understanding is reached by people who rise together, led by the light of shared goals and ideals. Number 5. Get to their core ideas. Picture yourself standing in front of a huge oak tree with roots that are deeply rooted in the ground. Moving the oak will take more than just brute force. On the other hand, a wise Stoic would know that the elements, like wind and water, can gently push something toward its ideals by speaking in its ear. This metaphor shows how to be calm by speaking to your inner ideals, which is a powerful way to settle disagreements carefully and quietly. Instead of going after their image, we focus on the rich grounds of their ideals and ideas. By getting to know and following their inner guide, they can find answers that are in line with their core views. In the end, this will lead to more honest buy-in and deals that last. Follow these steps to start your quiet road toward value-driven persuasion. Show the value environment. Doing study before making your point will help you become a better researcher. What moral standards do they follow? What do their beliefs tell them how to act? Pay attention to what they say and do, and write down what they agree with, disagree with, and praise. By showing possible links, this makes it easier to make a picture of their value landscape. Close the split by value. Find the shared thread. Not thinking that their ideals are completely different from yours is a bad idea. Find values that everyone shares, even if they don't seem to fit the current situation. You both value doing what's right, being honest, and being fair. Discovering these shared values will help you make your case in a way that appeals to them. Use their words when you talk. Instead of trying to trick them, change your message to fit their values once you know what they stand for. Talk so that they can say what they're interested in and what worries them. Telling them your values in a way that fits with theirs builds a sense of shared ground instead of making you give up your own. Show, don't just tell. Since actions speak louder than words, don't just tell them about your answer. Show them how it fits with what they believe. Provide specific examples, stories, or past actions that show how your plan follows the main principles. This makes your point stronger and more real. Remember that respect is very important. Instead of control, try to understand. During this process, always be kind and polite. Remember that you're not trying to control or dominate them. Your goal is to help them find a solution that meets your needs and fits with their values. By using this calm method, you turn into a good guide instead of a fighter with words, taking your enemy to a place they can really believe in. Remember that basic change doesn't come from forcing someone to change. It comes from them being in line with the ideals that shape their character. This approach builds respect and understanding between both sides, and in the end, leads to answers that are good for everyone. Sixth, using fun in a smart way to solve problems. Picture yourself walking on a wire that is stretched over a huge hole. Making a mistake can make you very angry, but humor can help you keep your balance like a stick. The sixth Stoic method, which is summed up in this complex phrase, is using humor to solve problems. There's no doubt that laughing can ease stress and make it easier to talk about things. A well-timed joke or a friendly attitude can help relieve stress, leading to better understanding and letting go of anger. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, said, "A joke is a fragile thing, and a jest may turn into an insult." To get the most out of comedy, we need to be very careful when we use it. Here are some tips to help you walk the funny tightrope with ease. Know your audience. Sometimes different people find the same things funny, so think about how your opponent laughs and who they are before you make a joke. What do they think makes them laugh? What kinds of topics could be touchy? When you're making jokes, be careful and err on the side of caution. Something that makes someone laugh might bother someone else. Find quiet happiness instead of horniness, and laugh at other people instead of with them. It's not funny to make fun of or insult your opponent. The point is to find a common sense of humor. When it comes to humor, making fun of yourself is often a better bet because it shows that you are humble and willing to admit your mistakes. It's very important to read the room twice after the first reading. When used incorrectly, humor can have terrible effects. Before adding humor, you should think about how serious the issue is. It would be better to wait until things calm down. Keep your cool and be kind if the stress is still strong. Puns and snark should be left at the door, and jokes that make fun of sensitive topics, stereotypes, or personal attacks should be avoided. Don't forget that the goal is to build bridges, not burn them. Comedy shouldn't be used as a crutch, but as a tool. Please don't think that humor will end the fight by itself. Humor can be useful, but it shouldn't be used instead of honest conversation or dealing with important problems. Don't think it will be the magic cure. Use it in small amounts to make people feel more open and brighten the mood. It's always better to be safe than sorry. Whenever you're not sure, it's best to stay away from jokes. To figure out if they're right, keep in mind that it's easier to gain trust than to lose it. And this is true even when making jokes. Using these stern ideas, comedy might stop being a risky balance walk and start being a useful way to build relationships, relieve stress, and make it easier to solve problems. Remember that laughter has power because it can bring people together instead of dividing them. When used correctly, it can turn tense situations into chances to get along and work things out. This may come as a surprise. Number 7. Show understanding. Picture yourself on a rough mountain trail, looking over a crack at a climber who looks like they are going the wrong way. Like a whirlwind, their irritation and anger can be heard all over the valley. Instead of throwing arguments across the void, a calm person would slowly lower themselves, fill the gap, and offer an understanding hand. The 7th tactic is the Stoic concept of showing concern. This is what it's all about. Even during heated fights, empathy can help people work out their differences without fighting. In line with what Marcus Aurelius says, we can make real relationships with others and have more productive conversations by supporting their feelings and experiences. If you want to become more reserved, you need to shift your focus from me to them. Look at the world through their eyes. Spend some time trying to see things from their point of view instead of just focusing on yourself. What events in their lives have changed how they feel? What fears or doubts might be driving them? This shift in viewpoint gives you the courage to empathize with them and to see their unique reality. Pay close attention to the words above. Hear the things that they don't say. When talking to other people, it's important to pay attention to both what they say and how they act. This includes things like tone of voice, face emotions, body language, and what you say. It is important to understand what is being sent and respond properly. These often show deeper thoughts that their words might have hidden. While you're listening, try to understand without judging. See, don't pass the judge. Even if you don't agree with them, value their feelings more than their actions. Show them that you understand and care about how they feel. Some words that can help build trust and lower defensiveness are, "I understand why this is important to you," or "It sounds like you're feeling frustrated." Find the cause of the argument and the pain that is being kept hidden. A lot of the time, anger and irritability are caused by deeper emotional wounds. For them, look into anything that might cause them pain, fear, or nervousness. When you have a better understanding, you can deal with the root cause instead of just the symptoms. It also makes you more empathetic. Remember that being thankful is not the same as agreeing. Don't walk in front of them, walk with them. Being empathetic doesn't mean you agree with what they're doing or give up your morals. It's as easy as understanding their point of view and creating an atmosphere that encourages honest conversation. Even if you don't agree, you can handle the argument with respect and understanding. You build a bridge of understanding instead of just a bridge over a chasm of disagreement. When you take this conservative view of empathy, you put yourself in their shoes to connect instead of judge, and that connection can help you find real solutions, both for the present and for how you will deal with each other in the future. So get off the mountain, reach out, and show someone you care. You might be taken on a surprise trip together. 8th, learn how to find common ground. Picture yourself in front of a huge oak tree, its branches stubbornly moving in the wind. You might have to use a lot of force to get the oak to do what you want, which could hurt both you and the tree. Stoic philosophy suggests that a smarter move would be to learn the art of balance, which means being able to bend and change in order for the wind and the oak to live together happily. Absolutes and strong opinions rarely help people work out their differences. Epictetus said, "Seek not to have things happen as you wish, but rather wish them to happen as they do, and you will live a tranquil life." Real power means being able to find solutions that solve at least some of your needs and your opponent's needs. You can practice this calm art by changing me to we and seeing the disagreement as a chance to work together. Instead of seeing it as a competition, look at it as a chance to find a way out that works for everyone. This new way of looking at things leads to better results and new ways of fixing problems. Find goals that everyone wants to reach and look for common ground, even if it seems hard to find. Look at the long-term goals you both want to reach and put aside your present disagreement. You might both care about the same things, like truth, respect, or a good place to work. Finding these shared goals makes it possible to come to an agreement. Decide what's most important and be ready to let go of the rest. Not all the details are important, and some parts of the situation are worth dying for. Pick out the most important things and be ready to give up on the rest. In this way, you can focus on finding answers that solve your main problems. Find the win-win or win-enough answer. Instead of focusing on a win for one side, look for solutions that help everyone. Try to come up with an answer that makes everyone feel like their needs are understood and met in some way. In the long run, this makes people feel less angry and more like justice has been done. Remember that life is a trip, not a goal. As the saying goes, patience and adaptability are key. Most compromises don't last forever, so be ready to go over the deal again if something changes or new information comes to light. To reach a lasting agreement, both sides must be willing to talk things out and change their minds. When you learn the calm art of balance, you can stick to your requests and beliefs. You show strength, flexibility, and a strong desire to find answers that work for everyone instead. You know how to live in a state of dynamic balance, not pushback, like the wind and the oak, which makes the end more peaceful and harmonious for everyone. 9. Don't be ashamed to ask for help from outside sources. Picture yourself stuck in a forest of thorns, with branches twisting and turning around to block your way. It seems like you can't make progress no matter how hard you try. This irritation often feels like being stuck in a fight, where you can't talk to each other and it seems impossible to find a solution. But the Stoics tell us that even in hard times, we are not alone. The 9th strategy stresses that asking for help from others should be seen as a sign of our determination to make things better, not as a sign of weakness. An unbiased third party, like a referee or psychologist, can help people find their way through the complicated path of conflict. A Stoic philosopher can provide a control-led setting for conversation, ensuring that each side is heard and respected, just as they do when guiding their students toward understanding. Their knowledge can help clear up the muddled conversation and get rid of the mental growth that has been going on. It's often hard to speak when we're feeling strongly, which makes it hard to understand other people's points of view or clearly explain oneself. By helping to unwind these emotional knots, a neutral third party can make the talk more relaxed and productive, bridging the gap and building a path to understanding. Counselors and judges are trained to spot knowledge holes and help people who are fighting fill them. They can help both sides see things from the other person's point of view, which can lead to more understanding and less defensiveness. They can also encourage productive talks that move the discussion toward a settlement. A good organizer can steer the conversation toward useful problem solving, making sure that everyone has a chance to share their concerns and work together to find solutions. Give you tools and information that will get you ready for the trip. A lot of advisors and judges have special training in how to deal with conflicts and talk to people. Their lessons can help you build better relationships over time by giving you the tools you need to deal with future disagreements. Don't forget that asking for help is a sign of power, not weakness. According to the Stoic theory, asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but of understanding. It shows that you want to find a solution that works for everyone and are willing to put money into your own growth and the success of the relationship. By getting help from outside sources, you can benefit from the knowledge and experience of others. This can help you and your opponent find a peaceful and helpful solution to your disagreement. Remember that getting help from time to time can make things better and tell you that you are not alone, even when things are hard. 10th, being able to forgive. Picture yourself attached to a huge rock. The rock's weight is pulling you down, and its sharp edges are cutting into your skin. The weight of anger and not forgiving others is what gets you stuck in the past and makes it hard to move on. The Stoic philosophy says that one of the best ways to break these ties is to forgive oneself. Forgiving someone doesn't make up for the past or the way they behaved. Seneca said, "He who is revengeful lives with a wound always open." Forgiving someone means choosing to let go of the hurt feelings that are holding you back so you can move on with more clarity and peace of mind. Start your road to becoming more calm by focusing on yourself and how their actions are affecting your health. Getting angry and resentful and hanging on to it does more damage than the other person. You feel tired, can't think straight, and find happiness and peace more easily when you're stressed. When you choose to forgive, you can take back control of your mental health and put your own health first. Understand how your point of view affects things and look at the situation in a broader way. Sometimes, in order to forgive someone, you need to understand their past and their goals. Instead of defending their acts, they are owning their flaws and weaknesses. This new point of view could help people understand each other better and make the situation less upsetting. Don't forget to remember to let go of the past, not the memories. Forgetting the past is not part of being forgiven. Instead, it means letting go of the bad feelings that come with it. Remember the lessons you've learned, but let go of the things that are holding you back, like anger and hate. Actively forget, and keep in mind that the process of forgiving never ends. Please do what you can to make it longer. On this journey, you have to keep working hard. If you want to practice active forgiveness, you can let go of negative thoughts and feelings whenever they come up. Journaling, mindfulness, and meditation are all techniques that can help you with this. Remember that forgiveness is for you, not them. In the end, you give yourself a gift when you forgive others. It frees you from bad feelings and makes you happier, calmer, and more able to change how you feel. Don't wait for someone else to earn your forgiveness. Forgive yourself first. You can change your present and make room for a better future by accepting spiritual forgiveness. You choose not to forget the past. Instead, you choose to walk the path of peace and self-compassion, freeing yourself from the chains of anger and hate. Remember that forgiving someone shows that you are strong and care about their well-being, not weak. So, take a big breath out, let go of the weight, and move forward into a future that gives you more freedom and peace of mind. 11th, growth from the ashes of war. Think of a bird that has been through trouble and come out stronger and smarter. This strong metaphor captures the essence of the 11th Stoic strategy, which says that disagreement can help you grow as a person. Remember that Epictetus said to make the most of the things you can control and accept that the rest is set and out of your hands. When you think about yourself and evaluate yourself, you can use conflict as a chance to learn and grow as a person. Start this life-changing journey by being open to learning and seeing problems as chances to grow. Change the way you think about disagreement from something bad to something that can help you grow and learn. Be willing to look at your mistakes and acts and go into the situation with an open mind. Start your dig and look for the root reasons. Think about how you fit into the conflict. What made you act the way you did? What beliefs or principles were being tested? What emotions took over? And how did those emotions affect what you did? Being honest is important for figuring out your habits and triggers, so give these questions a lot of thought. Find areas that can be done, from thinking about it to putting it into action. Don't let thinking about things get you down. Turn your thoughts into ideas for how to make things better. Did you need help talking to people in a good way? You might want to work on your active listening skills. Did your emotions get the best of you? Find out more about mindfulness techniques to help you control your emotions better. Ask for help and feedback. Learn from teachers you can trust. Find a dependable friend, therapist, or mentor who can inspire courage in your personal growth and give you honest feedback. Talking to a stranger about your thoughts and experiences could help you see things in a new way and make you more responsible. Remember that growing is a process. Patience is key. Change will happen slowly because growing as a person takes work and time. Stick to your plan to keep getting better. See mistakes as opportunities to learn and celebrate small wins. If you follow this Stoic mindset, disagreement might stop being a bad thing and start being a strong force for self-discovery and positive change. You are rebuilt from the ashes and come out stronger, smarter, and ready to face problems head-on with courage and poise. Always keep in mind that you can learn and grow, and that even the hardest situations can help you become the best version of yourself. Setting limits is number 12. Picture yourself on a clean beach with the waves lapping gently at your feet. Wait. Someone is entering your space and making you feel bad. In this situation, the 12th Stoic method can help you set limits and protect your health and inner peace. It represents the careful balance of handling relationships. We're not upset about the event itself, we're upset about how we see it. Epictetus said, "Even though we have no control over what other people do, we can influence how we react. By making it clear what we will and will not accept, we can protect ourselves from negativity and make relationships better." To use this Stoic idea in real life, you should understand your inner direction and figure out what you need and what you value. Before setting limits, think about what's most important to you. What actions are in line with your values, and what habits drain your energy or invade your personal space. Setting these mental limits makes it possible for people to communicate well. Use words, not walls, to communicate clearly and with respect. Stay away from vague comments and acting passive-aggressively. Focus on your wants and feelings and use I words to voice your limits in a clear and forceful way. Remember that to get people to work together and understand each other, you need to communicate politely. The key is to be consistent. When you set limits, stick to them like a star. Don't give in to guilt or make excuses to avoid a fight. When you stick to your limits, you show others respect and get respect from yourself. Prepare for resistance. Know that not everyone will be able to follow your rules. Prepare yourself for potential pushback by kindly restating your position and stressing how important it is to abide by your demands. Remember that setting limits gives you power. Taking care of yourself is the key to freedom. Setting boundaries is not selfish. it's important to protect your mental and physical health. Taking care of your room and energy can help you grow, which is in line with Seneca's advice to have a happy heart and be thankful for what you have. Adopting this conservative idea will help you and others get more respect, communicate more clearly, and have relationships that are better and more enjoyable in the long run. Remember that setting limits gives you the power to live a life full of inner freedom, respect, and peace instead of building walls. It's a way to love yourself. Number 13. Remember that you have control over how you respond. Picture yourself in the middle of a rough storm where the waves are crashing and the wind is howling. This storm is out of your control, but you can choose how to deal with it. The 13th Stoic strategy is to remember that you are in charge of your reactions, not the things that are happening around you. It's a powerful comparison. Stoics tell us that real strength doesn't come from controlling the outside world, but from controlling our own minds. Epictetus says, "It is a shame for the soul to depend on the body for satisfaction." By focusing on our responses, which we can control, we can stay calm even when life is rough. To develop the ability of Stoicism, you need to figure out what sets you off and understand your emotional territory. Just for a moment, think about the things or situations that make you feel bad. There may be certain words, people, or actions that bother you. Recognizing these causes is the first thing that needs to be done to control them. Stop and breathe for a moment. There should be some space between the trigger and the reaction. Make up your mind to wait before acting on instinct. Take a big breath in and give yourself time to quietly watch and think about what's going on. Feelings won't be able to control what you do because of this. If you want to change something, change your point of view, not the facts. Many times, how we think about things affects how we respond more than what actually happens. Look at things from different points of view and face your unconscious opinions. Is it possible to fix this? What good things can you focus on? Be careful about which response you choose. React or don't respond. Consider your options carefully before replying, after gathering yourself and changing your perspective. Does getting angry or frustrated help you deal with things? Would it work better if you were calm and sure of yourself? Remember that based on how you react, the issue can get worse or better. Work out, work out, work out. It takes time and work to learn how to control your responses, just like learning any other skill. It takes a lot of work. You can gradually improve your mental resilience and self-control by trying out different approaches to difficult scenarios. When you take this conservative view, you don't become weak. Instead, you become stronger. Instead of trying to control the outside world, you learn to handle life's storms with courage and grace. You find inner peace by controlling your responses. Remember that the real test of strength is having quiet control over your own thoughts and feelings, not having control from outside yourself. So, stay calm when things get tough, make smart choices, and weather life's storms with the calm confidence of a wise old man. These techniques, which come from the Stoics, can help you turn an argument into a chance to learn, understand, and feel calm inside. Remember that the real victory is not beating your opponent, but becoming stronger and more sure of yourself by managing your emotions. Marcus Aurelius said, "Your own soul is the only place that is more peaceful and free of disturbances than anywhere else." Take some time to think about your own soul and then come back to face what's waiting for you. Marcus Aurelius was Emperor of Rome from 161 to 180 AD. He is thought to be the last of the 5 good emperors. During his lifetime, he wrote a collection of personal pieces called the Meditations. In them, he always pushed people to find peace in their lives. In many of his practices, he talks about how important it is to get up early and make the most of the day. He also talks about how important it is to take time to center yourself and be still. His journaling gives us a good idea of what he would have done in the evening. We are now going to look at 7 different things that Marcus Aurelius would have done in the evening, and how we can do the same things or change them to fit our new lives. To get rid of outside stimuli, Marcus Aurelius says, "You can withdraw into yourself whenever you choose." Marcus Aurelius used his evenings to disconnect. He was famous for saying that we should live each day as if it were our last, but he also thought that it was important to take time to relax and recharge his own self. Cutting himself off from outside stimuli and finding worth in looking inward was his way of getting rid of stress or bad feelings. When things outside of the body change, or when we learn something new through our senses, these are called external cues. We are constantly being affected by things outside of us, especially when we use technology and interact with other people. To keep up with the unnecessary expectations of modern life, we take on too much, and our days are now full of meetings, emails, schedules, tasks, and to-dos. We're no longer free and don't feel safe. We can try our best to find a balance between work and life, but when we get home, we'll still feel tired, stressed, and overworked. After that, we usually spend the evenings watching TV, checking social media, or trying to answer those last-minute emails. We need to lessen these things that bother us and clear out our minds. Because of this, you should spend time with yourself every night. By doing this, you should probably give up a lot of the things you usually do at night and start doing new things that will help you relax and focus on yourself. It entails turning off all electronics at least 30 minutes before you go to bed, and instead seeking peace and quiet. This could be as easy as a 5-minute guided meditation, like a breathing exercise or body check. Mindfulness exercises can help you calm down a mind that is too busy and pay attention to your body. This kind of meditation can help us feel like we're on vacation inside ourselves, and doing it every night can be very helpful. Meditation has been shown to lower stress, boost happiness, and make sleep much better. Before bed, your habit should be a break from the busy world and a time to be alone with yourself. While watching a lot of TV shows at once, playing video games, meeting up with friends, or looking through social media may feel like a break, they aren't really helping you calm down. In fact, they are making it harder for you to find it. Sleep is important, but it doesn't always help you feel better after a long day. For the best evening habit, you need to include something that takes your mind off of things. Get some exercise. Marcus Aurelius said, "It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable." Marcus Aurelius knew how important exercise was, even though he lived almost 2,000 years ago. He thought that you can't have a healthy mind without a healthy body. Stoics thought that even a simple workout practice could teach us good things about life, like how to build self-confidence, be patient, and work on improving ourselves. They knew it was more important to work out to improve their self-mastery skills than to get support from other people. The media might have us believe otherwise, but the Stoics already knew that trying to get in shape just to show off rarely leads to real happiness. People often don't work out because they say things like, "I'm too tired," "I have a big meeting tomorrow so I don't want to be sore," or "I'm so stressed at work I can't even think about it." Most of us dread working out for different reasons, but it's too important to your physical and mental health to skip it. Getting some exercise, like playing a sport or going to the gym, is good for you because it releases endorphins, which are feel-good chemicals in your brain that make you feel better and lower your stress. If you work out in the evening, it can even help you fall asleep faster, making you feel rested and ready for the next day. You can also try going for a short walk outside in the evening to clear your mind. As you walk, pay attention to the air and the things around you. Don't think about the things that happened during the day. Instead, look up at the stars as you walk. You can clear your mind after a busy day and get ready for a good night's sleep by slowly moving your body and enjoying the beauty of nature. We should work out to live a better life that is in line with nature. This means having our bodies ready for when we need them and in good shape. Review your day. Marcus Aurelius said, "Nothing has such power to broaden the mind as the ability to investigate systematically and truly all that comes under thy observation in life." The Stoics thought that the best times to reflect were in the morning and at night. Use your morning journaling to get ready for the day ahead and your evening reflections to think about the day that was. Marcus Aurelius wrote his writings so that he could get a better understanding of his own daily life and thoughts. He always kept an eye on what he did and what he chose every day. Stoics said that you should be aware of what you're doing and that you should take time at the end of each day to think about what happened as a way to be more aware in general. The Stoics called this kind of mindfulness attention. The goal is to make you aware of your behaviors and whether they are in line with your better self. Some Stoics said that this kind of daily self-reflection was like arguing your case in court. Taking the time to self-reflect and then carefully review your daily actions and decisions helps you remember and rate your day. This isn't meant to be a harsh review. It's meant to be a kind look back that will help you make better decisions in the future. This kind of daily review can become part of your evening habit if you take some time to think about the day that was before bed. Think about every moment of the day, from the time you woke up to the present. Think about the different decisions and acts you made today. What did you do well? How did you feel at the time? What parts of your day made you feel bad? What's the lesson you can draw from today? What would you have liked to have done today but didn't? In Stoic thought, it is very important to think about things every day. By writing down things we wish we had done today, they help us get ready for the next day. They also help us figure out if the things we do every day are in line with the person we want to become. For instance, when you think back on your day, you might remember a bad experience you had because of a misunderstanding while you were getting coffee in the morning. You'll be able to remember how that one exchange made you feel uncomfortable and irritated. You can talk about how much time you spent thinking about the event and how it affected your mood in the morning. You can think about how you could have handled the situation differently, or how unimportant the contact was in the grand scheme of your day. You can approach a similar situation with greater mindfulness if you are just aware of this event the next time you are in it. An important part of living a Stoic life is setting aside time at night to think about how you did during the day. For those who missed it in the morning, it may also give you a chance to catch up on their daily journaling. Think about your personal sage. Marcus Aurelius said, "To master reading and writing, you need a master." Still, more so life. A sage is someone who is respected for their knowledge, wisdom, and judgment. A lot of people look up to this person. Stoics thought a lot about their teachers and whether or not their deeds were in line with those of their master. Marcus Aurelius thought of the teacher as someone having a lot of information and wisdom. Zeno, the father of Stoicism, was his wise man, and he often asked himself, what would Zeno do? Thinking about the wise person should mostly happen at night, when you think about your day or yourself and ask yourself, what would your role model do? They could be a real person or just an idea of what a good person should be like. You should have a clear idea of who this person is so that you can think about whether your actions are in line with your role model. As part of your bedtime routine, think about your role model for a moment and ask yourself, did you act the way your role model would? How can you make tomorrow better so that your life is more like the person you look up to? In what ways did you see yourself in your role model today? As you wind down for the night, take a moment to think about the things that happened to you today and whether you responded the way you think your role model would have. This will help you make better decisions tomorrow and make you more like the person you admire so much. Take a view from above. According to Marcus Aurelius, think of substance in its entirety, of which you have the smallest of shares, and of time in its entirety, of which a brief and momentary span has been assigned to you, and of the works of destiny, and how very small is your part in them. It is known that Aurelius would look at his life from the point of view of the universe in the evenings to get past his own narrow view of things. There is a lot of noise in the world these days. We see ads, marketing, news, opinions, and other things that take our attention away every time we leave the house. We're on the phone, the radio, the TV, or the computer when we're not at work or with our family. All of this leads to mental burnout, which makes it hard to find time to breathe and think. Apps, games, videos, and TV shows are capturing our attention, and it's harder to deal with our issues, worries, stresses, and obligations when our minds are on other things. One Stoic exercise that can help with this is taking a view from above. This exercise takes our focus off of our own worries and puts it on something far above us. As a first step, you could take some time to be still in the evening and think about your body, your home, and the people you live with. We start to think about how they might feel, how we get along, and what worries, dreams, and fears they might have. Then, zoom out to see your city. Each person there has a unique story that you don't know about, and they have the same hopes, dreams, and fears as you. Then, zoom out to see your country, and then even further to see the whole world. Think about all the people on Earth and how our lives are spread out across different races, cultures, countries, and social groups. Think about how hard things are for some of the poorest people. You can keep zooming out to see the whole world, the solar system, and everything in between. When we look at ourselves from above, we don't see separate people from the things around them. Instead, we see ourselves as a part of a bigger picture, a part of everything going on around us. When we look at ourselves from the outside, we can more clearly understand ourselves and our problems. We can see our fears, concerns, and problems more clearly and without as much feeling when we step back from them. This also gives us a better chance of figuring out what causes them and how to fix them. It gets easier to understand what's going on. This exercise might help you feel better after someone insulted you. Putting things in perspective makes it a lot easier to get over our mental problems. Small fights and bickering look silly in comparison. When we compare our problems to those of other people or to the vastness of space, many of them go away. Marcus Aurelius said, "Those who live the longest and those who die earliest lose the same thing. The present is all they can give up because that's all they have, and you can't lose what you don't have." For Marcus Aurelius, the end of the day meant spending time with his family. Marcus clearly cared deeply about his wife and children. He didn't ignore them even though he was busy, popular, and important. When he put his kids to bed at night and kissed them, he would whisper to himself, "Don't rush this. You might not do this again. That neither of you will make it through the night is a given." He loved them. This thing in front of him was the most important thing in his life, and he loved it. Then he said good night. For as long as he was lucky enough to live, he would keep doing this. Stoics thought about death as a way to remember that life is short. Nurse Bronnie Ware, an Australian who specialized in care for people who were dying, said that one of the main things people who are dying wish they had done is spend more time with their family. A lot of her patients complained that they missed their kids' childhood and their partner's company. Families only spend a little more than 30 minutes of quality time together during the week, And when they do get together, up to 70% of parents say the time is spent in silence in front of the TV because kids are reading, playing video games, or are just too tired to talk. To be like the Stoics, we should think about our deaths often and remember ourselves that one day we or our children will not wake up to enjoy the beautiful chaos of life. This will help us make changes to spend more time with our families and tell them we love them often. Spending time with family is very important for building strong bonds, love, ties, and relationships between family members. Spending time with family helps you deal with problems, gives you a sense of comfort, teaches family values, and boosts your child's confidence. Get ready for mornings. Marcus Aurelius says, "Don't put things off." Marcus Aurelius strongly believed that getting up early every morning was very important. He did this to make a morning habit that would help him make the most of every moment. Because of this, sleeping was meant to be a healing process, not an opportunity to be too lazy. For Aurelius, having a morning routine was very important. However, he started part of this routine earlier than morning when he got ready for the next day. Many Stoics got ready for the day by planning it out in their minds first thing in the morning. They did this by thinking about what they wanted to accomplish that day, getting ready for different events that might happen, and thinking about who they were. There were a lot of Stoics who thought about these things in the morning and evening. You can get ready the night before to make getting up as easy as possible. In this case, you might lay out your clothes for the next day, pack your bag for work, or set a clear plan for the morning that you always follow. This also means getting to bed on time so you can sleep for 6 to 8 hours. This will not only help your health, but it will also make getting up more pleasant. Getting ready for the next day in the evening will not only help you with your morning routine, but it may also make you feel less stressed about the things you need to do when you wake up. The ancient Stoics thought that discretion and silence had great power and wisdom. These people knew that we shouldn't tell everyone everything we think or feel. Epicurus, a Stoic philosopher, said, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to stop worrying about things that we can't change." To help us find wisdom and inner strength, let us look at the 7 things that Stoicism tells us to keep to ourselves. Don't say bad things about yourself. One of the most important ideas in Stoicism is that you should never say bad things about yourself. This means you should never talk badly about yourself, not even when you're alone with your ideas. The wise Stoic Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't be overheard complaining, not even to yourself." This rule is meant to protect your mental health and sense of self-worth. If you keep telling yourself things like, "I'm terrible at this," or "I'll never get better," you're basically lowering your self-esteem. These bad thoughts about yourself can make you less motivated and stop you from growing as a person. It's important to be aware of your inner conversation if you want to follow this Stoic wisdom. Instead of putting yourself down, try to remember what you can do and what you're capable of. You can boost your self-confidence and resilience by telling yourself, "I can do this, and if not right now, I will get there eventually." This growth-oriented and positive attitude is in line with the main ideas of Stoicism. Don't brag about feeling better about yourself. A famous Stoic philosopher named Epictetus has a lot to say about how to improve yourself. Being humble and careful are good things to keep in mind as we try to become better people, which is a smart suggestion. This means we shouldn't shout out loud about our efforts and successes to everyone. What we should do instead is let our deeds show how much we've grown. Epictetus basically says that self-improvement should be a personal journey that we go on for our own good, not to get praise or attention from other people. If we keep bragging about how far we've come, it could make our goals less sincere. It's the same as telling everyone about our goals before we actually reach them, which can make us less motivated and committed. Epictetus urges us to remember the old saying, "Actions speak louder than words," which means that the true test of our self-improvement is not the lofty claims we make, but rather the noticeable changes we make in our actions, character, and attitude. True growth is shown by what we do, how we treat others, how much wisdom we share, and the good qualities we show. The most important thing to remember is that working on yourself should be a quiet, steady process. We shouldn't make our plans public. Instead, we should work hard in the background, focused on our own growth. So, we let our achievements show through easily and inspire other people. Instead of the empty words we say, people are more likely to be moved and inspired by the changes they see in us. Epictetus said that the best way to improve yourself is to journey with humility and respect. As the most real and powerful way to encourage and change people, we should let our deeds and results speak for themselves. Do not eat too much. A well-known Stoic philosopher named Musonius gives us good advice on how to be moderate in all parts of our lives, especially when it comes to what we eat and drink. His wisdom shows that indulging too much can have bad effects, such as making you feel physically and mentally burdened and burning out faster. The Stoic theory stresses how important it is to be disciplined and in control of yourself in order to be successful in all areas of your life, not just your work. By this, we can see that balance is not just an advice, it's an important concept to follow. Think of a pendulum swinging. On one end is overindulgence, which means eating or drinking too much. This road may make us feel good for a short time, but in the long run, it hurts our minds and bodies. For example, overeating can cause bodily pain, health problems, and the mental pain of feeling guilty or sorry for what you did. In the same way, drinking too much can make you lose your sense of right and wrong and your ability to control yourself. On the other hand, there is total silence or control, which can be just as bad. This can make you feel deprived and frustrated, and ironically, it might even make you want to overindulge later on. His wisdom tells us to find a halfway path that is both right and wrong. The key is moderation. We should not eat so much that we feel uncomfortable. Instead, we should eat until we are full. We shouldn't drink too much. Instead, we should enjoy them in a way that makes our situations better, not worse. Musonius, a Stoic philosopher, shows us that balance isn't just a good thing to do when it comes to food and drink. It's a general rule that can be used in all parts of our lives. By being moderate, we develop discipline and self-control, which are not only good for us, but also necessary for success and living a peaceful life. Remember that modesty is an important part of life's big music. It helps our actions fit together better and makes the trip more satisfying and balanced. Don't talk too much. A timeless piece of wisdom from Zeno, an old philosopher who is known as the father of Stoicism, still rings true in today's busy, chatty world. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, so listen more than you speak, he wisely said. This seemingly simple advice has deep meaning and makes us think about how we talk and connect with others. These days, when everyone seems to want our attention more than ever, it's more important than ever to follow Zeno's advice. A lot of the noise comes from people trying to be heard on social media, in meetings, and in everyday talks. When we want to say what we think, though, we forget how important it is to listen actively and carefully. To be a good listener, you need to do more than block out noise. You need to give someone your full attention and tune into their words, feelings, and body language. You give someone a valuable gift when you listen: respect. In this way, you show that you care about what the person has to say. Being a good listener makes you stand out in a noisy world and shows that you care about other people. When you listen, you make room for relationships that matter to happen. It makes people feel heard, understood, and respected, which makes relationships stronger and communication better. Being a good listener can improve relationships, make it easier to work together, and build trust, whether you're at work or at home. Additionally, listening gives you the chance to learn and improve. You can get new ideas, views, and information by actively responding to what other people say. Learning how to listen can help you grow as a person and help you make smart choices. Zeno said a long time ago, "You have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, so listen more than you speak." Being a good listener shows mindfulness, respect, and wisdom in a world where self-expression is often the most important thing. Remind yourself of the power of listening the next time you're in a talk. You'll find a deep link with others and a way to grow personally and professionally. Don't think about the future too much. There is a deep lesson in the theory of Stoicism about how important it is not to worry too much about the future. Great Stoic thinkers, like Epictetus, warned us that we can't always control the things that happen in our lives. Worrying about things we can't control, like what other people are thinking and doing, or what might happen in the future, or what has already happened in the past, can make us feel anxious and depressed. A well-known Stoic philosopher named Epictetus said that the key to real happiness is to stop worrying about things that are out of our control. Here is a breakdown of what this Stoic wisdom means. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond our will. Accept that you can't control everything. It's important to understand that you can't control every part of your life. You can't change some things that happen, and worrying or being worried about them won't change that. For example, you can't change the way other people act, the events outside your control, or the unknown of the future. Think about the moment. People who follow Stoicism tell us to focus on the present moment instead of focusing on the past or worrying about the future. Only in this very moment do you have the power to act and make decisions. You can change your future for the better by doing your best right now. Pick how you want to react. The Stoics stress how important it is to learn to control your feelings and deeds. Things that happen outside of you are out of your control, but how you react to them is always up to you. Being able to control yourself in this way lets you be at peace and happy even when life is unsure. Lessen stress that isn't necessary. Stress and anxiety can build up when you think about what might happen in the future all the time. Stoicism tells us to accept that life is unpredictable and to welcome it instead of fighting it. In this way, we can lighten our emotional loads and live in more peace. Stoicism pushes us to focus on what we can control rather than worrying too much about the future. In line with Epictetus's sage advice, this method can result in greater happiness, resilience, and peace. Don't not be thankful. The way we show thanks or lack of gratitude is an important part of how we connect with others. It is important to never say that you don't value anything, because life itself is a wonderful gift that we should accept and be thankful for every moment. Epictetus, an ancient philosopher, said, "He is a wise person who does not grieve over the things he lacks, but instead finds joy in those he possesses." This timeless wisdom tells us to always be aware of and grateful for the good things in our lives. It's very simple. Not being grateful means not noticing or showing respect for the good things that happen to us. It can show up in many ways, such as ignoring other people's kindness or taking our everyday comforts for granted. Practicing thanks helps us see the good things in our lives and appreciate the work of those who make us happy. If we show thanks, we might become less close to the people around us. People can get confused, hurt, and have a hard time getting along with others. On the other hand, Showing thanks builds good relationships and makes people feel like they are respected and loved. So, whenever you talk to other people, remember how important it is to be thankful. Make it a habit to say thank you for the good things that happen to you, the chances you get, and the gifts you receive. By doing this, you not only build good relationships, but you also make your own life better by appreciating the beauty and goodness around you. If you want to be happy, stop whining. A lot of us get into the habit of complaining without even realizing it. A lot of the time, we do it to let off steam or get pity from other people. In fact, though, whining doesn't help things get better. It just makes our lives and the lives of those around us worse. The wise philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." This means that our happiness rests a lot on how we think and how we choose to see and react to the world around us. Why complaining doesn't help. Complaining can turn into a loop of useless whining. Complaining about something doesn't usually lead to an answer or a good change. Instead, it can make us feel like victims and powerless, making us think that we have no control over our lives, which can make us more stressed out and angry. Also, whining all the time can make our interactions worse. People around us may feel mentally drained, and over time, they may be less likely to offer their support or company. It is easy for negative energy to spread, and whining makes it worse. The power of positivity. On the other hand, deciding not to complain and focused on the good things in our lives can make a huge difference. How to do it? Better mental health. When you stop whining, you stop thinking about problems and start thinking about how to solve them. This can bring about less worry, stronger emotional resilience, and better mental health in general. Favorable relationships. People are usually drawn to those who are happy. You can improve your social connections and make deeper connections with people if you choose not to complain. More work gets done. Complaining is often a way to avoid doing something. When you change your attitude to focus on finding answers and taking action, you get more done and get more done faster. Gratitude. Being thankful for what you have requires courage, so don't complain. Finding the good things in your life and being grateful for them, no matter how small, can make you feel pleased and happy. How to cut down on complaints. As you practice mindfulness, pay attention to your feelings and thoughts. If you're mindful, you can stop yourself before you start to complain and change your mind. Try to find solutions. When you have a problem or challenge, stop thinking about it and start thinking about how to solve it. Say thank you. Make it a habit to say thank you for the good things in your life. By doing this, you can change your focus to the good things in your life. Complaining is a trait that rarely helps and usually hurts others. You can make your life better and more rewarding by thinking more positively and finding solutions. Remember that, as Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the key to happiness is in the way we think and feel. We can find strength, wisdom, and mental peace by following the Stoic ideals. The practice of chosen silence is an important part of this theory. It means carefully choosing when to speak and when to be quiet. This level of privacy in conversation can help us grow as people and strengthen our relationships with others. The Stoic way of thinking tells us that we don't have to say everything we think or feel. Certain thoughts and feelings are better kept inside, allowing for greater reflection and self-improvement, just as some riches are best kept close to our bodies. Being honest with ourselves about our thoughts and feelings can help us understand ourselves and the world around us better. What the Stoics knew was that silence can teach you a lot. People who practice mindfulness can pay more attention to their own thoughts, see things more clearly, and gain insights that would otherwise be lost in the noise of constant talk. We can learn to live our lives with more purpose and wisdom by choosing silence. This will lead to a better and more important life in the long run. I'm not going to get into the tenets of Stoicism and list 11 things that you need to get rid of right away. Through silence. This may make you wonder why in silence. I think that silence is the key to real happiness and mental peace. It gives us time to think, relax, and get back in touch with ourselves. We can grow, become more clear, and feel calmer by getting rid of these things from our lives. What are these things that we need to say goodbye to? I will not only show you these 11 things in this movie, but I will also give you ideas and useful advice on how to get rid of them for good. Remember that getting rid of these things may not be easy, but it's important. We can grow as people and live a fuller life when we let go of things that don't serve us anymore. Get ready to clear out your life and find real peace inside. Let's start. First on the list is bad self-talk. When we're thinking about ourselves, we often have a negative and self-critical conversation that turns out to be harmful. This kind of negative self-talk has a huge impact because it lowers our self-esteem, makes us feel less worthy, and stops us from growing as people. Now is the time to break out of these bad habits and develop an attitude full of self-compassion and positive mantras. The great philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This quote reminds us that the things we think can change the way our lives turn out. So, it is very important that we choose thoughts that help us instead of ones that get in the way of our growth. Negative self-talk usually happens when we compare ourselves to others, question ourselves, or have a skewed view of what we can do. To get out of these chains, we must first be aware of our bad thoughts. We must accept that they are there, but we must not let them define who we are. Change them out for positive mantras and practicing self-compassion. Developing habits that support a happy outlook is essential on our path to self-development. Start by being thankful, because that helps us shift our attention from what we don't have to what we do have. Another useful tip is to surround ourselves with good things, like books that make us feel better, talks that motivate us, or friends who are there for us. You can also drown out the voices of self-doubt by doing things that make you happy and satisfied. Remember that we can choose our thoughts, and if we constantly replace negative thoughts with positive ones, we can change our inner world into one of strength, resilience, and self-love. Second, relationships that are bad for you. A lot of the time, we're in situations that are bad for us and stop us from growing. These relationships are full of bad vibes, drama, and disrespect, and they seep into our lives like poison, stealing our happiness and energy. There is a lot of power in these relationships, and we need to find the strength to cut ties with people who are bad for us. As a first step toward getting out of bad situations, we should surround ourselves with positive people who will help and support us. We need to find people who are positive, inspiring, and truly care. Being around the right people gives us the power to become the best versions of ourselves by letting us soak up their good vibes. Remember that the people we spend time with make us who we are. Setting clear limits and putting our health first are also important ways to get rid of unhealthy relationships. Philosopher Socrates said, "An unexamined life is not worth living." Take some time to think about which relationships are bad for your growth and need to be ended. Really be honest with yourself and get the courage to cut these unhealthy ties. Your mental, social, and spiritual health is very important, even if it hurts and is hard. Most of all, remember that you can and should protect your own peace and happiness. The third thing is bad habits. Getting into bad habits can hurt our lives in many ways, including our minds and bodies. If we drink, smoke, or eat too much, These habits tend to take over our lives and keep us stuck in a circle of self-destruction. But it is very important to be aware of these bad habits and work hard to get rid of them from our lives. It might be hard to face these things head-on because they are a part of our daily lives and make us feel better when we don't really are. We are in charge of our own lives, though, when we accept that we need to change and grow as people. It's helpful to change bad habits with good ones when you want to break them. We can try better coping mechanisms like exercise, meditation, or artistic projects instead of drinking or smoking too much. By dealing with the problems that make us do these bad things, we can fill the void with things that are good for our hearts. Building a strong support system is another important part of getting rid of these bad habits. It can give us the courage and responsibility we need to get through these difficulties, to be around people who share our goals for personal growth and well-being. Associate with people who are likely to improve you, said the philosopher Seneca. It is important for us to look inside ourselves and see the bad habits that keep us from living our best lives. Remember that the choices we make in the present have more power over us than the things we did in the past. Let's leave the evil that used to destroy us behind and choose growth, resilience, and a life full of good things. The fourth thing is sorrow and guilt. For personal growth and mental peace, it's very important to learn how to let go of sorrow and guilt. It's important to think about what we did and what we learned from the past, but playing over and over again bad memories only keeps us stuck in a loop of self-blame and negativity. Before we can break free from sorrow and guilt, we need to accept that we are only human and will make mistakes. When we make mistakes, we learn important lessons and have chances to grow. Nietzsche, a philosopher, once said, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." Our mistakes shape us, teach us to be humble, and help us learn more about other people and ourselves. We should accept each other instead of focusing on the mistakes we've made in the past. We can find inner peace and room for personal growth by forgiving ourselves for the mistakes we've made. We can start to heal our scars and start moving forward with a new sense of purpose by practicing self-forgiveness. Along with forgiving yourself, it's important to forgive others as well. Keeping a grudge or being angry only makes the weight of sorrow and guilt worse. Epictetus, a philosopher, once said, "Forgiveness is better than revenge, for forgiveness is the sign of a gentle nature." When we forgive those who have hurt us, we free ourselves from the weight of anger and make room for growth and positive energy. Number 5. Things that you can touch. It is important to free ourselves from material things that don't make us happy or add meaning to our lives if we want to find real happiness and inner peace. It's easy to get caught up in the web of consumerism and want more and more, but we soon learn that material wealth doesn't equal true happiness. It's time to accept simplicity, get rid of the stuff that doesn't matter, and make room for what does. It is important to think about why we want to accumulate things in this age of excess. Are we buying them because we have to, or are they just meeting a need in us? Adopting simplicity forces us to think about what we really want and put what makes us happy first. Instead of giving in to social expectations and selfish standards, we need to develop a detached attitude in order to get rid of these things that aren't necessary. People need to learn to separate their sense of self-worth from their material belongings. They need to understand that what really matters is who they are, not what they own. Adopting the idea of minimalism can help us rethink how much we buy and choose to only surround ourselves with things that make us happy and add value to our lives. One useful tip for becoming more minimalist is to clear out our places, starting with a small area at a time. We can figure out how important each thing is and whether it really makes our lives better by looking at it carefully. We also need to think about the messages that ads and social rules send us, because they might be steering us away from what we really want. We can slowly but surely develop a simple lifestyle that frees us from the weight of unnecessary things and lets us focus on what really matters: our relationships, experiences, and personal growth. Number 6. Making similarities. A big part of accepting yourself and growing as a person is learning not to compare yourself to other people. We often compare our skills, achievements, and looks to those around us, which makes us feel inadequate and causes self-doubt. Nevertheless, it is important to remember that everyone has their own skills, flaws, and paths. We can let go of our constant need for support and acceptance from other people when we accept this truth. Someone famous once said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." This quote really hits home because it reminds us that always comparing ourselves to others takes away our happiness and satisfaction. Turning our attention away from comparison and toward our own potential and self-improvement will help us stop the bad habit. We shouldn't focus on what other people have done or what we think are their benefits. Instead, we should focus on developing our own skills. By following this theory, we help ourselves understand that our worth doesn't come from comparisons, but from our desire to grow as people and become the best versions of ourselves. This trip into ourselves gives us a sense of purpose and satisfaction in life, free from the ongoing need to compare ourselves to others. Let us work on having an attitude that values individuality, sees the beauty in our skills, and accepts the unique path we are meant to take. Number 7. Acting without thinking. When life gets crazy, it's important to control your impulses. Because they are based on our feelings and instincts, these responses often make us act without giving it much thought, which makes us regret our decisions later on. But if we work on our emotional intelligence and self-control, we can learn to handle things with calmness and thought, even though we are naturally reckless. Friedrich Nietzsche, a smart philosopher, once said, "He who cannot obey himself will be commanded." That's how living things work. We feel these words in our souls. They get to the heart of what drives us and encourage us to work on controlling our impulses. Our impulsive actions can have very bad results for us and the people around us. They make it harder to get along with other people, grow as a person, and make progress in many areas of life. We can learn more about our own feelings and motives by learning emotional intelligence. This self-awareness helps us figure out what sets off our spontaneous behaviors so we can stop them before they happen. Additionally, when we work on having self-control, we take charge of our actions and stop giving in to our sudden urges. Epictetus, a philosopher, once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When we accept these words, we begin a journey of self-discovery and personal growth. We let go of our spontaneous nature and become free to respond with thought. By doing this, we not only find inner happiness, but we also help make the world a better place for everyone. 8th, ideas that hold you back. Beliefs that hold us back are one of the biggest problems we face on the path to personal growth. It's these self-imposed limits that keep us from reaching new levels of success and happiness. We need to question and get rid of these limited ideas that live inside us in order to reach our full potential. Having a growing attitude is the first thing that you need to do to get past these problems. When we believe that our skills and abilities can grow with dedication and hard work, we let in a world of endless potential. Start by writing down these ideas and asking yourself if they are true. Do they come from reason, or are they just based on fear? Psychologically, self-reflection and analysis help us learn more about ourselves and find the real reasons behind our views. Once these ideas are known, it's important to show proof that they are false. Look for examples and success stories that show these limited ideas are not true. Surround yourself with people who see your promise and can help and encourage you. Lastly, it's important to change limited ideas with powerful ones if you want the change to last. Develop a positive and powerful attitude by telling yourself you can do things and focused on your skills. By having a growth mindset, questioning these beliefs and changing them with positive thoughts that make us feel good, we can break free from their limits and reach our full potential. Let's go on this life-changing trip together, letting go of the things that are holding us back and welcoming a future full of endless options. 9. Putting things off. To stop the habit of putting things off, you need to develop focus and a strong work ethic. It is important to know and set clear goals in order to effectively organize jobs. We can better spend our time and energy on the things that matter when we have a clear picture of what we want to achieve. To get through the overwhelming feeling that often comes with big jobs, it's also helpful to take small steps towards success. Tasks feel more doable when they are broken up into smaller pieces that you can handle. It also gives you a sense of success and accomplishment as you go. Developing focus and a strong work ethic can help you beat procrastination, which is the enemy of getting things done. This wise philosopher says, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. If we consistently set priorities and work toward our goals, we can form the habit of being productive and efficient. It's important to remember that getting over putting things off isn't easy, but it's worth it. To grow and reach our full potential, we have to accept the things that make us feel bad and push through our inner reluctance. Allow us to start this trip together, helping and supporting each other as we break free from the chains of procrastination and discover the power of discipline and hard work. 10th on the list is perfectionism. We often get stuck in a never-ending loop of self-doubt and self-criticism when we try to be perfect. We hold ourselves to impossible high standards and expect nothing less than perfection in every part of our lives. However, trying to be perfect can cause us a lot of stress and worry that stops us from doing anything. Giving up the need to be perfect is important. Instead, we should focus on making progress. We have to accept that making mistakes and being imperfect is not only normal, but also necessary for us to learn and grow. We need to get over our fear of failing and see the lessons that come from them if we want to really grow and reach our full potential. We can change our way of thinking so that we are always trying to get better by seeing these flaws as steps on our path instead of as obstacles. Setting goals that are reasonable and doable is another useful way to get over perfectionism. We shouldn't try to be great at everything. Instead, we should focus on making progress and getting better. We can develop an attitude of progress by letting go of our need for perfection and seeing flaws as chances to learn and grow. Recognizing and learning from our mistakes is the only way to grow and reach our full potential. 11th, being hooked on social media. In today's world, where technology is an important part of daily life, it's impossible to deny that social media sites are appealing and hard to stop using. We are always looking for approval and relationship in the virtual world, making us feel like we are slaves to our computers. Nevertheless, it is important for us to understand how bad social media addiction is and work hard to escape its grasp. Before we can have a better relationship with social media, we need to set good limits and spend less time on these sites. We shouldn't idly look through endless feeds. Instead, we should focus on making real-life connections and doing things that make us truly happy and fulfilled. Philosopher Epictetus famously said, "We must get used to a certain detachment from our desires and not be easily upset by the withdrawal of things we love." It may seem impossible to get rid of social media from our lives, but it is possible. It takes purposeful effort to stay away from the temptation and fill the void with important activities and conversations. Don't forget that we need to learn how to live in the present as our true selves instead of just living online. Alan Watts, a wise philosopher, said that we can get back our time, energy, and inner peace if we recognize how bad social media addiction is and take steps to break free from it. As we rise above the shallowness of the digital age, let us accept the wisdom of these thinkers. We can develop a better and more balanced relationship with technology and relearn what it means to connect with others as a group. We let our own thoughts and instincts take over when we delete things in silence. We make room inside of us to hear our inner voice, which leads to clarity and wisdom. Through this process, we take charge of our own lives and choose the parts that are in line with who we really are. You can fully accept Stoicism and find comfort in the depths of your own hearts by doing this. I hope this intellectual thought has hit home for you, and I invite you to think about what it means for you in your own life. Remember that silence can help you learn more about yourself and grow. Did you know that the Stoics had a secret tool that could protect them from the chaos and mental turmoil that being around tough people could cause? Imagine having such a tool, a mental shield that keeps you safe from the bad vibes that other people might try to send your way. It's not just a piece of old history, it's a useful plan that can change your life right now. Stoic wisdom can help you deal with a difficult boss, a grumpy family member, or anyone else who drains your energy. Now I'm going to go into more detail about how you can use these Stoic ideas to not only survive hard times, but also thrive in them. Building a life of happiness, resilience, and deep personal freedom is more important than just getting by. Reduce the narcissist's impact on your life, strength and complete freedom for yourself. You've come to the right place if you've ever felt down because of someone else's negativity, or if you just want to live a calmer life in this busy world. With the ancient wisdom of Stoicism at our disposal, let's start this trip together and find out how to stay calm no matter what life throws at you. Drawing a line in the sand is at the heart of this idea. It's about choosing how much we let outside forces, especially a narcissist, affect our inner peace and calm. You have power over your mind, not over outside events, Marcus Aurelius said one time. You will find strength if you understand this. The truth of this strong statement hits home when we have to deal with a narcissist, that it tells us that we don't have the power to change the narcissist or their behavior. What we do have control over is how we react and interact with them. The only things we can really control when dealing with a narcissist are how we respond, how we feel, and how much mental space we give them. It's not easy, especially when we're feeling emotional, and the narcissist is a big part of our lives, like a family member, a partner, or even a co-worker. We hurt more often in our imaginations than in fact, according to Seneca's wisdom, which goes well with this method. When we're dealing with a narcissist, our worries and fears about what they might say or do next often make our stress and anxiety worse. By using Seneca's understanding, we can tell the difference between the real effects of what others do and the mental pain we cause them. This doesn't make the problems a narcissist causes seem less important. Instead, it gives us the power to take back our mental space by focusing on the present instead of the worst-case scenarios. Let's look at this in more detail. Picture yourself carrying around a bag every day, and every time the narcissist does something bad, like try to control you or say something hurtful, they add a rock to it. It's heavy, wearing out, and making you move more slowly. With Stoicism, we learn that we can stop putting more rocks in our backpacks. It's not possible to change the narcissist, but we can change how their behaviors make us feel. To lessen their influence in our lives, we must first choose to shift our attention away from them. This means that we have to work at moving our thoughts and energies toward things and people that make us feel better, like activities that make us happy and calm. Setting mental and physical limits that keep us safe is what it's all about. This could mean limiting our contacts with the narcissist, changing the way we talk to them so they don't get ideas on how to hurt us, or even cutting off all ties with them. But it's important to be aware of how hard this process can be on your emotions. Stoicism doesn't mean hiding our feelings. It means recognizing them, trying to understand them, and then making smart choices about what to do next. If you have a selfish parent or child, you're not just dealing with a bad person. You're also dealing with the loss of the caring, helpful relationship you deserve. It's a normal part of grieving, and you should let yourself go through it. Get help from a therapist, do something artistic like writing or painting to calm down, and lean on friends or groups that can help you. With these steps, you'll not only get away from bad things, but you'll also heal and grow. Focusing on our inner fortress, which refers to our inner refuge of peace and resilience, is something we learn to do when we adopt Stoicism. We're not being mean to the narcissist by reducing their influence in our lives. We're just putting our own mental and emotional health first. We're making the choice that our peace of mind is the most important thing and that no one can bother it. Don't forget that it's okay to be sad, to cry, and to ask for help. Take steps to become better and happier, and make sure your inner fortress is strong enough that no outside chaos can get in. In order to deal with narcissists with Stoicism, you must find strength in peace and choose to focus on what really matters: your growth, your happiness, and your peace. Narcissists often put on a show of being better than others, whether it's through intelligence, beauty, wealth, or a mix of these things. They don't just put on this front for show. It's a big part of who they are and keeps them from facing their weaknesses and fears. But when we start to see through this mask and question its truth, we're not doing it on purpose. We're just following a Stoic practice of finding the truth, of removing the layers of fiction to find the truth below. But how should we do this? First, we need to ground ourselves in the concept of calm neutrality and figure out what we can control and what we can't. The narcissist is out of our control, so our goal is not to change them. Instead, we want to change how we see them, which will make them less powerful over our feelings and actions. Instead of addressing the narcissist directly or trying to bring them down, you might choose to quietly question their stories when you see them showing off their inflated sense of self-worth. You might only need to ask, "How did you come to that conclusion?" Or, "Can you tell me more about that?" When asked with real interest and without passivity, these questions can make the narcissist and the people around them think about how true their claims are. To ensure your own safety and well-being first, it is essential to approach this with care and mindfulness. Stoic philosophy tells us not to get into fights that make us feel bad inside. Instead, it says we should try to keep our calm and mental balance no matter what happens around us. This means knowing when to interact with others and when to stay away, always putting our own peace first. When you show distant interest, you're not directly challenging the narcissist's view of themselves. Instead, you're asking them and yourself to look into the truth. This kind of soft questions can slowly bring down their inflated ideas without being rude or direct, but by asking them to think about it. You might find that their power over you decreases, which lets you view the situation and the person with more objectivity. This plan fits with the Stoic practice of prososh, which means attentive awareness. In this practice, we stay in the present moment and are aware of our words, actions, and thoughts. By staying mindfully aware, we can handle our relationships with the narcissist with kindness and wisdom, making sure we stay true to our values and dedicated to our search for peace. You can find the truth in a kind, non-confrontational way by challenging the narcissist's idealized self-image from a place in your life that is less important. Following the Stoic values of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, it's about slowly peeling back the layers of what's really going on. Not only do we protect our own peace of mind, but we also give the ego a chance for self-reflection and development, even if only in a roundabout way. This process of becoming more self-aware and mending is not idle. We have to be ready to be involved, have courage, and face sometimes painful truths about ourselves. Focusing on ourselves, our growth, and our well-being is what this path is all about, not on the ego or changing how they act. Being self-aware and having good character are important parts of Stoicism, which fits nicely with the healing journey. We are encouraged to look inside ourselves to understand our feelings, responses, and the things that make us who we are. Seneca's wisdom rings true here. No person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they don't have and to cheerfully put to good use what they do have. This means recognizing our current problems or weaknesses not as things that will always be there in our lives, but as tasks that can help us grow and learn. We should focus on internal feedback and self-compassion instead of outward approval, especially from people who can't give it to us in a healthy way. Therapy is a safe place to do this kind of thinking and growing. We can talk about our thoughts, feelings, and the effects of our interactions without fear of being judged. To heal from the hurts caused by unhealthy relationships, to understand our own worth, and to understand that our worth doesn't depend on the support or praise of a narcissist or anyone else. As part of treatment, we do Stoic reflection, which means we look at our lives and decisions with a healthy dose of courage and wisdom. We question the ideas that have kept us in unhealthy relationships and may have caused us to look for approval from people who can't give it to us in a healthy way. Detaching from the need for praise from others is essential for regaining our freedom and liberty, and this self-examination is the first step. But therapy isn't just a way to separate ourselves from things. It's also a way to build something new inside ourselves. Finding happiness, love, and peace on our own terms, and making a life that fits with our core values and goals is what it's all about. This fits with the stern goal of a good life, where happiness comes from living a good life, not from praise or ties with other people. Going to treatment and working on yourself is a strong way to fight back against the evil that a narcissist tries to bring into your life. We are more than the parts they've given us in their story, and we have the strength and wisdom to write our own. Stoicism is all about realizing that our power lies in our choice of how to react, in taking care of our inner yard, and in living in line with reason and nature. Therapist visits and working on yourself aren't always easy. We have to be strong to show our weaknesses, face our fears, and venture into the unknown. But it's also a road full of hope. As we peel back the layers of pain and self-doubt, we find the strong, lively self that was always there, ready to be found and praised. In the spirit of Stoicism, therapy teaches us that the most important freedom comes from inside ourselves. It's the freedom to pick our emotions, act with kindness and wisdom, and live a life that shows our real selves. Our resilience and potential for change are on full display in this process of healing and growth. It tells us that we can find peace, joy, and satisfaction inside ourselves, no matter what problems we face. Keep your mind safe by keeping your reactions in check. So, let's go through this journey with the courage of a Stoic, seeing treatment and personal growth as chances to make our own lives better. Let's stay on this road of self-awareness and virtue, understanding that every step we take will lead to a more honest, strong, and happy life. Stoicism tells us that we have full control over our thoughts, feelings, and deeds, but not over the things that happen in the outside world or the things that other people do. This idea gives us a lot of power, especially when we're dealing with a narcissist whose actions can feel like they are directly attacking our mental health. Let's remember ourselves that we have the power to protect our mental space, control our responses, and live a life of honor, peace, and strength. This isn't just a way to deal with narcissists, it's also a plan for living a good, thoughtful life. Remember this as we come to the end of our discussion on the wisdom of Stoicism and how it can be used to deal with difficult people. Your peace of mind is your refuge, a fortress that no outside force can breach without your permission. We have the ability, like the Stoics, to choose our reactions, to persevere in the face of difficulty, and to develop a life of peace and resilience. Just for a moment, imagine that the most important thing you can do to live a worthwhile, happy life isn't something you can buy, earn, or get from other people. It's already inside you, just waiting to be found and used. Rather than being a thought experiment, this is based on the wisdom of Stoicism, a theory that has helped many people throughout history live with purpose, resilience, and peace. Stoicism teaches us that the key to a good life is not praise from others or material wealth, but learning how to value ourselves through the principles of temperance, courage, wisdom, and justice. It's a strong message that even though the outside world is chaotic and hard, we have the solid basis for our own happiness and well-being inside us. We're getting rid of the layers of social standards and self-doubt to find the timeless Stoic principles that can change how we see the world and ourselves. This journey isn't just about getting better at yourself. It's also about regaining our true worth and learning how to live in line with our core values. You have come to the right place if you want to find inner freedom, resilience, and satisfaction. We should go on this journey together and look into how the wisdom of Stoicism can help us value ourselves more than ever. Please do not skip this movie in any way. If you're here, think of yourself as different from most people. Think of yourself as an exception. Now, behave like one and read everything all the way through. We've all done it at some point or another, right? We settle and make concessions all the time, whether it's staying in a job that drains us, staying in relationships that don't make us feel better, or not going after our dreams because we're afraid. Why do we do that, though? It could be fear, warmth, or a mix of the two. Stoicism tells us that these outside things don't change our real worth, our soul. Stoicism says that how we react to things, not where we are, like a house or a jail, is what makes us who we are. It means realizing that we may not be able to control everything in our lives, but we do have complete control over how we think, feel, and act. Take a look. When we settle for less than we deserve, aren't we saying that other people and things have more power over us than we do? Stoicism tells us to question that idea. People are encouraged to ask themselves, does this situation fit with my values? Am I reacting to this in a way that shows how valuable I really am? Not only that, but Stoicism doesn't just leave us sad if the answer is no. No, it gives us power. It states, look, you have the power to change your perception, to choose your response, and in doing so, to transform your reality. Remember this quiet wisdom the next time yourself starts to take less than you deserve. You are not your job title, your relationship status, or the size of your bank account. Remind yourself of this. Your worth depends on how well you can stick to your ideals and always act with courage, wisdom, and honesty, no matter what. We shouldn't blame ourselves for our problems. Instead, We should give ourselves the tools to see and take control of the things we can change. Let's not settle for less, not because we think we deserve it or are cocky, but because we know how valuable we are. The strength and resilience that come from knowing who we are and what we stand for will help us deal with the problems that life throws at us. In true Stoic style, we're not just living when we do that, we're thriving. Stoicism doesn't give us the courage to brag or boost our egos because it has a deep knowledge of human nature. It does, however, motivate us to be open and honest about our own good qualities and efforts. Why? Because honoring our successes isn't just a way to feel good about ourselves, it's also a way to honor the hard work, focus, and persistence that got us there. It has to do with keeping our promises to follow through on our goals and beliefs. Let us break it down. Stoicism is based on qualities like patience, courage, wisdom, and fairness. Most of the time, these traits are what help you reach your goals, no matter how big or small they are. To apply for that job, deal with the problems that came up, or order that room, it may have taken courage, wisdom, or discipline, a type of moderation. You're not only undervaluing the result when you say your success was due to luck or that anyone could have done it. You're also undervaluing the good habits you used to get there. In that case, how do we change this idea? How can we start to be proud of what we've done without becoming cocky? Being silent means being honest and balancing your emotions. You have to say, yes, I worked hard for this. Yes, I had problems and solved them. Yes, this accomplishment shows how hard I worked and how good I am. Not to boost your pride, but to tell the truth. It's about giving yourself credit where credit is due. Okay, now I want you to think of something new you can do. It does not matter how big or small it is. Think about the good things you did to get there. Perhaps you displayed exceptional self-control, bravely stepped outside of your comfort zone, or applied your wisdom to solve a dilemma. No matter what it is, take a moment to recognize it and the good things that led to it. You're not supposed to pat yourself on the back during this exercise. Instead, it's meant to help you see the truth about your character and work. Practicing this stern habit can change how we see our own wins and how we see ourselves. It helps us stop being fake humble and start really appreciating our own strengths and skills. When we recognize our accomplishments, it's not about our egos, but about the good qualities we've shown and the hard work we've put in. It happens all the time, right? Sometimes it feels noble, generous, and even brave to do things like stay late at work to help a coworker, skip your morning run to make breakfast for your family, or put your own goals on hold to help someone else's. Still, there's a catch. Putting other people's needs ahead of your own all the time can make you tired, angry, and lose your sense of self. If you try to fill cups from an empty jar, you'll get nowhere. Stoicism isn't about being cold or self-centered. Instead, it puts a lot of weight on ethics and making the world a better place. But it also shows us how crucial self-care is. Why? Because taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's what makes it possible to care for others well. Stoicism tells us that before we can help other people, we need to make sure our own physical, mental, and spiritual well-being is in good shape. Let us break this down a bit. Understanding the difference between what we can control and what we can't is something that Stoicism teaches us. We have control over our own thoughts, ideas, deeds, and even self-care. We may want to change other people's well-being, but it's not always in our control. By putting self-care first, we not only respect our own worth and health, but we also get in line with what Stoics call the natural order of things. So, what does taking care of yourself look like for a Stoic? Whether that's through meditation, exercise, spending time in nature, or talking to loved ones, It's about developing habits that are good for our mind, body, and spirit, setting limits, saying no when needed, and being aware of our own needs without feeling guilty or having to say sorry are all parts of it. Figuring out how to take care of ourselves first makes it easier to fully be there for other people. When you find yourself putting the needs of others ahead of your own, remember this quiet wisdom. Ask yourself, am I not taking care of my own needs? Am I giving up my health in a way that doesn't help anyone in the long run? Always keep in mind that taking care of yourself is not being selfish. It's the basis of real service and the key to a life with meaning, resilience, and satisfaction. Stoicism has a lot to say about self-worth because it focuses on virtue, resilience, and personal responsibility. In a world where things like money, fame, and success are often used to judge our worth, Stoicism tells us that our worth comes from within and can't be won, bought, or given to us by other people. Instead, our worth comes from being able to show wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation, no matter what is going on around us. This view of self-worth isn't about being cocky or feeling like you deserve something. It's about recognizing and respecting the worth that each person has, including ourselves. It's about developing a strong self-love and respect that isn't based on competition or comparison, but on a strong desire to improve our own health and growth. So, how can we develop this strong sense of self-worth inside ourselves? It starts with a change of perspective, realizing that our worth isn't based on what we've done or what we own, but on the character traits we show every day. It's about being open to the process of self-discovery and improvement, knowing that our worth is not set in stone, but can grow and change over time. Stoicism also teaches us the importance of self-acceptance and fully accepting ourselves, flaws and all. Stoicism gives us the courage to accept our humanity with all of its flaws and faults, rather than always trying to be perfect or getting approval from other people. It's about realizing that we are enough the way we are, and that our worth doesn't depend on other people saying nice things about us. Ultimately, developing a strong sense of self-worth is about taking back our power, independence, and respect in a world that often tries to take them away or use them for its own gain. To understand that our worth is not based on outside factors, but on the strength of our character, the honesty of our deeds, and the depth of our kindness. We can live lives of meaning, resilience, and joy when we accept this truth as human beings. Someone who hurt you may have made you angry, resentful, or want to get back at them. Have you ever hoped you could hurt them as much as they hurt you? You are not alone if you said yes to any of these questions. Everybody has enemies, or people they think are their enemies. They could be our foes, competitors, haters, people who hate us, or even family or friends who have lied to us, hurt us, or swapped with someone else. What if I told you there was a better way to battle your foes? A way without fighting, violence, or hostility, but one based on wisdom, virtue, and self-control. In this way, you can not only kill your enemies, but you can also become a better person, free of bad feelings and living in peace with nature, other people, and yourself. This is the way of Stoicism. Stoicism tells us that the only things we can really control are our own thoughts, feelings, and deeds. Everything else is outside of us, doesn't care about us, and can change. Because of this, we should focus on the things we can control and be okay with the things we can't change. So, Stoicism is not an inactive or uncaring way of thinking. Instead, it is an active and sensible way of thinking that lets us live in line with our nature and reason, and gives us the strength to face any problem, challenge, or hardship with courage, wisdom, and honor. First, understand that your enemy is not what is making you suffer. They are your perception. Your enemy is not what is making you suffer. They are what you are being judged for. If you want to weaken your enemy's power without getting physical, the second most important thing you need to know is that your enemy is not the cause of your pain. In fact, that power comes from your own decisions. Your enemy does not make you feel angry, sad, or scared immediately. Instead, how you feel is based on how you think about what they did, how you respond, and how you understand what they did. Your enemy then shows you what's going on inside your mind and emotions, the places where your decisions are off, and where folly and emotional reaction control your thoughts. Your enemy acts as a trigger in this situation, showing you patterns of false expectations and the strong feelings of attachment and repulsion you have toward outside events. This fundamental perception challenges the idea that external events have the inherent ability to disturb mental peace. Epicurus, a Stoic philosopher who himself rose from being a slave to a respected master, encapsulated this idea in his Ideon. Instead of the events themselves, it's how people see them that affects their emotions. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the opinions they have of them. This quote emphasizes the Stoic ideas about the inner world and encourages people to understand how their thoughts and interpretations affect their emotions. You have the power to change how you respond and build emotional resilience by realizing that your enemy is not the only thing making you upset, but rather a trigger for your own decisions. Epicurus also tells people to remember that insults and abuse do not automatically hurt them. Instead, it's how these acts are interpreted and judged that makes people feel offended. This means changing your whole way of thinking from blaming the outside world to taking responsibility for how you see things and how you feel about them. Do not whine, blame, or get angry at your enemy. Instead, start the life-changing journey of self-examination. Question your ideas, look at your opinions, and try to change your point of view. Because when you change how you see your enemy, you change how you interact with them, but you also change how you interact with yourself and the world around you. You stop seeing your enemy as something outside of you that makes you feel bad and start seeing them as a reflection of parts of yourself that are inside you. Moving your attention to something else lets you learn more about yourself by asking you to look at your feelings, beliefs, and thought processes. In this way, you learn more about yourself and the areas where you can grow and get better. From this new point of view, wisdom also comes out. When you understand that your beliefs determine your emotions, you understand how important it is to develop a more calm and caring mind. You understand that you don't have to automatically react to what your enemy does. Instead, you can reply in a more thoughtful and calm way. This change in thinking can also make you happy. You can free yourself from the weight of anger and hatred by stopping to see your enemy as someone who causes you pain. What you can do instead is find joy in the process of growing as a person and in becoming more connected to others and yourself. Finally, this new way of looking at things gives you courage. When you know you can control your own thoughts and actions, you feel more ready to face the challenges in life with courage and drive. You understand that real strength comes from being able to stay calm and collected even when things go wrong. Basically, if you change how you see your enemy, you can not only change your relationship with them, but you can also find a lot of room for growth, wisdom, joy, and courage in your own life. Starting this trip will help you learn more about yourself and gain more power, which will ultimately lead to a more satisfying and important life. Second, understand that your enemy is not another person, but your master. If you want to know how to get past your enemies without fighting, The first thing you need to know is that your enemy is a great teacher in the life classroom. Instead of seeing your enemy as an evil force, see them as someone who pushes you to your limits, shows you your weaknesses, and brings out your vices. Your enemy becomes a screen that shows you what you need to work on. The best way to avenge yourself is not to become like the wrongdoer, said Marcus Aurelius, a famous Roman ruler and Stoic philosopher. This deep statement emphasizes the significance of overcoming anger and developing virtues in the face of hardship. Action is sped up by the thing that stops it. Things that get in the way become the ways. Aurelius said it so beautifully when he told us to see problems as chances and use them as stepping stones to grow as people and as moral beings. Instead of giving in to bitterness or anger, use the challenges your enemy presents as a way to develop your resilience, strength, and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius also encourages self-reflection by saying, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most closely resembles the one I am about to criticize?" This introspective approach makes you aware of your own flaws before you judge others, which builds humility and empathy. So, instead of being angry at your enemy or wanting to get back at them, you might want to thank them for the lessons they've taught you, show them kindness, wish them well, and look into the possibility of making peace. Stop seeing your enemy as a threat and start seeing them as a unique gift or blessing that helps you learn more about yourself and grow as a person. By doing that, you totally change how you interact with people you think of as enemies. You don't face them with anger and hatred. Instead, you receive them with openness and acceptance. Adopting this way of thinking means realizing that every interaction with an enemy, real or imagined, is a chance to learn and grow. With each task, they give you a chance to think about your skills and flaws and learn more about other people and yourself. When you accept your enemies as special gifts, you recognize that they are the ones who teach you the most important lessons about yourself. They show you areas of your life that need work and push you to go beyond your comfort zone and consider new options. When you take this method, you not only stop your enemies from hurting you, but you also reach a better level of understanding and kindness. You can feel more compassion for both yourself and your enemies if you see them as guides on your way to growth. Beyond their acts on the surface, you start to see their humanity and the pain they are going through. In essence, the way to get rid of your enemy without fighting is to use the wisdom you gain from using hardship as a guide on your path to improving yourself. Every step you take on this road brings you closer to reaching your full potential and makes you more peaceful and in tune with yourself. Third, don't pay attention to them. The fourth, strong way to end a fight without using violence is to intentionally not know what the other person is up to. By choosing not to pay attention to your enemy, whether they are talking, acting, or just being there, you can avoid engaging with them. That is, you treat them as if you haven't noticed them or aren't interested in them. Ignoring your enemy is a strong strategy because it takes away the pleasure they get from hurting, irritating, or influencing you. Showing that you don't care about their attempts to bother you sends a strong message that they have no control over your feelings, actions, or health. This not only doesn't give them the pleasure they were hoping for, but it also makes them feel like their efforts are pointless and don't matter. They may show you how to focus your energy on things that make you happy, help you reach your goals, and help you grow as a person. This intentional distraction lets you get past the bad feelings that come with disagreements and focus on things that make your life better. Being in the present moment all the time becomes an important part of this plan. Ignoring your enemy gives you time and space to think about and enjoy the good things in your life, which leads to a grateful attitude. As a result, you can plan for the future with a clear head. That wise emperor Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy," has a lot more meaning than just words. This sentence is an invitation to think about and act on what you say, asking people to rethink how they treat people who have hurt them. By following this saying, we can break out of the never-ending circle of anger and negativity that often comes with disagreements. We are pushed to rise above the downward slope of anger and find a better way to solve our problems instead of giving in to the urge to get even and hurting each other. This theory is based on the idea that we should choose not to act like our enemies. We choose a road of not taking part and wisdom instead of reacting to violence with more violence. We can develop greater resilience and a better understanding of ourselves and the world around us as a result of this choice, which also shields us from the damaging effects of anger. Ignoring our enemy doesn't just mean ignoring them and acting like the problem doesn't exist. This is more about choosing where to put our energy and attention. If we don't pay attention to what our enemy says and does, we can focus on what really counts in our lives, our goals, our relationships, our interests, and our values. We can also find more peace and happiness in our lives by picking this path of not taking part. When we let go of our anger and rage, we can live in the moment with a calm and clear mind. We think about what's important, what makes us happy, and gives our lives value, and we plan for the future with hope and purpose. We become the builders of our own happiness and the guardians of our own inner peace if we follow this road. 4. Know what they mean. Deeply exploring the worlds of understanding is the best way to stop your enemy from hurting you without using physical force. To do this, you need to understand why they are your enemy, figure out what they want, and figure out how they think. The key is to see them as they really are, not through the lens of your thoughts or ideas you already have. By getting to know your enemy well, you can handle possible fights with wisdom. This knowledge lets you guess what they're going to do next, take advantage of their weaknesses, and avoid fights that aren't necessary. Also, getting inside their head lets you see how human they are by revealing their flaws, weaknesses, and inner battles. This understanding breaks down the simple idea that they are evil by nature, turning them into people who may be mistaken instead of evil, flawed instead of monster-like, and basically the same as you instead of different. Knowing your enemy well also lets you see what's going on in your own mind. It shows you what makes you angry, what hurts your ego, and what goes against your ideals. You can learn more about yourself by looking closely at your responses and reasons for doing things. This way of thinking about yourself gives you the power to learn from your mistakes, improve your character, and help your wisdom grow. Seneca, who is known as one of the greatest Stoic philosophers ever, said, "The best way to conquer an enemy is to make him a friend." This is a profound truth that goes far beyond the idea of physically or directly confronting and defeating an enemy. At its core, it asks us to think about how sensitivity, understanding, and forgiveness can save lives and change things. When we think about this saying, it makes us realize that changing an enemy into a friend isn't just a surface change in the outside world. It's a deep change on the inside that needs true commitment and understanding. It means looking into the feelings and minds of both sides to find out what drives them, how they see things, and what their core values are that have led to the conflict. When we understand our enemy, we not only get a better idea of how they act and why they do what they do, but we also learn more about ourselves. It lets us look at how we deal with problems and figure out what makes us angry, what threatens our ego, and what goes against our core beliefs. Through this kind of self-reflection, we can learn from our mistakes, become better people, and gain more wisdom and understanding of ourselves. Forgiving, caring about, and accepting your enemy is a part of turning them into a friend. In order to do that, we need to let go of anger and hatred and let healing and understanding happen. It takes courage and kindness to do something that goes beyond greed and anger and brings us closer to a state of inner peace and unity. By taking this method, we not only change the way we interact with others on the outside, but we also gain strength within. We get better at understanding and caring for others, and we rise above the limits of disagreement and strife. In the end, making friends with our enemies brings us more happiness and satisfaction in life, and brings us one step closer to realizing our full potential. Fifth, get smarter than them. Using cleverness to get past an enemy without fighting is the sixth strategy path in the complicated dance of ending a fight without using violence. To do this, you need to use your smarts, imagination, and strategy knowledge to get through a tough fight and win through cleverness and wit. Being smarter than your enemy shows that you have insight, because it helps you avoid risks that aren't necessary, get past big problems, and guide toward results that are in line with your goals. This smart move not only keeps you out of trouble, but it also makes you a chess master who can expertly predict other players' moves and counter-moves. Also, the element of surprise, confusion, or praise that comes with tricking your enemy can make them respect, admire, or even feel a little scared. Showing intellectual strength in the face of difficulty is a display of skill, brilliance, and excellence, making a statement that goes beyond simple tactical wins and setting you as a wise person managing the complex web of conflict. This method shows that you are not just watching, but are actively involved, moving the pieces around in a planned way to get the results you want. The great Stoic lawyer Cicero said, "The wise man's skill is to turn everything that happens to his advantage." This timeless piece of wisdom encourages people to look beyond their current situation and see challenges as opportunities and setbacks as steps toward progress. In essence, outsmarting your adversary is a sign of wisdom because it turns the tide of a battle in your favor and demonstrates the resilience of the human spirit. Going the route of planning and cleverness to trick your enemy takes you on a trip that goes beyond just fighting them. You need to be smart, creative, and have a deep understanding of how conflict works to go down this road. Using cleverness when dealing with your enemy gives you a huge number of options for changing the course of events and achieving your goals. One big benefit of being smarter than your enemy is that you can avoid taking risks that aren't necessary. Being smart lets you guess what they'll do next and make smart choices that lower your chances of failing. Being able to think ahead and make plans helps you get around tough problems and avoid possible traps that could stop you from winning. You can also surprise your enemy, throw them off, or even impress them with your strategic thinking if you are clever. By using clever or surprising strategies, you can throw off your opponent and get the upper hand in their mind. You have power and control over the battlefield because you can throw them off balance. But if you can beat your enemy with cleverness, you can earn their respect, admiration, or even fear by showing them how smart, skilled, and good you are through your actions. You make yourself look like a good opponent who deserves respect and attention. This show of skill and strength not only makes you stand out as a capable person, but it also shows that you are in charge of the situation. Taking this strategy method also gives you a chance to show how good a leader and thinker you are. Being sneaky and outsmarting your enemy requires more than just practical knowledge. You also need to know what everyone wants and why they want it. You establish yourself as a potent player in the conflict field by demonstrating that you can see past the surface and predict the effects of your actions. In conclusion, being smarter than your enemy is more than just winning a fight. Vision, courage, and drive are needed to be good at this art. When you use cleverness in your arguments, you not only get what you want more quickly, but you also stand out as a great leader and planner. Ultimately, by showing that you can beat your enemy with skill, you prove that you are the real winner in the battle for success and power. Allow yourself to forgive them. Forgiving someone is the fifth transformation technique that can help you defeat your enemy without using violence. Let go of anger, hatred, and any remaining desire for payback. This spiritual act includes all of these things: accepting the truth of what happened, figuring out why it happened, and finally breaking free from the chains of old grudges are all parts of this spiritual growth. Allowing yourself to forgive your enemy is like releasing the weight of hate, removing the poison of anger, and freeing your spirit from the chains of bitterness. It's a process that not only heals the scars caused by anger, but also helps you find inner peace again, which brings your emotional and mental balance back. Forgiving someone also makes it possible for them to make peace, work together, or even become friends with someone they didn't expect to. When you choose to forgive, you start a journey that will give you more power. Being weak by doing something so powerful is not a sign of strength. It shows how strong, kind, and noble you are. It shows that you are not a slave to your feelings, but a master of reason who can go beyond the basic urge to get even. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are in charge of your life and can choose the path of healing and growth. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "Forgiveness is better than revenge, for forgiveness is the sign of a gentle nature, but revenge is the sign of a savage nature." This wisdom shows how powerful forgiveness can be, encouraging us to fight our worst instincts and choose compassion and understanding instead. Not only do you show great inner strength when you forgive your enemy, but you also let go of the weight of your anger and hatred. You demonstrate to the world that you have control over your mind and heart and are not a victim of your feelings by choosing forgiveness. You have shown that you can get through hard times and find inner peace by choosing to let go of anger and negativity. Furthermore, forgiving your enemy shows that you have a very kind and generous heart. Being compassionate and kind to someone who may not earn it is something you are doing. They need your understanding and forgiveness. This kind act not only helps the person you forgive, but it also makes you look better by showing the world how noble you are and how you can defeat bad with good. When you forgive your enemy, you show the world that you are not a slave of your situations, but rather the mastermind behind your own life. Your actions and feelings will no longer be controlled by anger and hate. Instead, you are picking the way of peace, healing, and strength. By consciously letting go of the past, you open yourself up to new options and chances in the future. This is the way to real freedom and power. You also show that you are not a member of the crowd, but a boss of yourself by forgiving your enemy. It takes courage and self-determination to choose to forgive in a world where getting even and holding grudges are common. You are going against what most people think you should do by taking the less traveled path. This shows that you can make decisions based on your own values and principles instead of blindly following what other people do. In conclusion, you show strength, kindness, dignity, and leadership by forgiving your enemy. You are freeing yourself from the weight of anger and resentment and making room in your heart for peace and healing. As you forgive someone, you improve yourself, which gives you the confidence and drive to move forward in life. Love them. The seventh and final way to end a fight without violence is to use the transforming power of love. Using kindness, compassion, and benevolence as tools for change is part of this. People are encouraged to wish their enemies well, do good things for them, and help them grow as people. This is a paradigm-shifting method that goes beyond traditional ideas of how to solve conflicts. It is said that loving your enemy is like alchemy, because it can turn their anger into understanding, heal their scars, and even lead them to a way to change. At the same time, this act of love turns into a deep journey of personal growth, development, and understanding. You change the other person and raise yourself to a higher level of awareness and moral strength when you choose love over hate. Love has the power to change things in more ways than just relationships. It has the power to turn enemies into friends, rivals into partners, and disagreements into chances to work together. By showing love in a real way, you create an atmosphere where relationships can be fixed, friendships can be made, and partnerships can grow. When you choose love over hate, you also support your humanity, spirituality, and natural beauty. It's a statement that you are not spreading hate, but love. You show that you are above your most basic feelings by doing this. You have a divine quality that goes beyond strife. Along with being a part of the problem, it makes your part of the answer even more clear. The Stoic philosopher and Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius said, "The best way to avenge yourself is not to be like the other." This profound statement challenges the idea of revenge as a solution and encourages people to break out of the cycle of hatred and adopt a higher standard of behavior that is based on love and compassion. You can show how human, divine, and beautiful you are by loving your enemy. You can show that you love them instead of hating them. You can prove that you're a god and not a beast. You can show that you are not a part of the issue, but a part of the answer. Develop Stoic mindfulness. Using mindfulness to develop a Stoic attitude is not just a fun activity. There is a strong resolve to looking inside and reflecting on things that aren't clear. In addition to helping you figure out your surface responses, it also helps you understand the deeper parts of your mind. You can start a trip of self-exploration by questioning your deeply held beliefs, looking at your automatic judgments, and digging deeper into your being. This will not only help you understand yourself better, but it will also set you up for long-term personal growth. Being present in the present is not the only thing that Stoics mean by mindfulness. Being aware of your own views, thought processes, and emotional reactions is a part of it. By figuring out how to read your complicated stream of consciousness, you lose yourself in the depth of your thoughts and look into how your feelings affect the choices you make. When you know yourself very well, you can tell the difference between being rash and being thoughtful. This lets you make choices based on logic and reason. In real life, this mindfulness helps you handle the people you meet every day. It gives you the tools you need to spot early warning signs of possible problems so you can handle tough situations with calm and clear thinking. By getting closer to your inner experiences, you not only learn more about your own thoughts and feelings, but you also develop a greater understanding of how other people feel, which can lead to better relationships. In the end, Stoic mindfulness shows itself to be a journey of self-discovery that lasts longer than just being present. As a strong tool for personal growth and effective control of life's difficulties, it shows us how to face our daily obstacles with grace and wisdom. Resilience in the face of adversity. Stoic philosophy, with its emphasis on virtue, peace, and accepting what is beyond our control, provides us with a road to resilience in the face of adversity. In a world full of doubt, problems, and disputes, being able to stay calm and clear-headed is very useful. Stoic resilience isn't just being able to weather the storm, it's also about finding the inner strength to face it and come out of it better. The idea of amor fati, or love of fate, is one of the most important ideas in Stoic thought. Being open to everything that happens in our lives, good and bad, and seeing each event as a chance to learn and grow, is what this means. Stoic resilience tells us to accept our problems with respect and courage, believing that we can get through them instead of fighting them or feeling sorry for ourselves when they happen. Another important part of Stoic resilience is the practice of premeditatio malorum, which means thinking about bad things that will happen in the future. This doesn't mean thinking about what could go wrong all the time, but it does mean getting ready in your mind to deal with problems that may come up along the way. We are better prepared to deal with problems when they happen when we think about them ahead of time and make a plan for how to handle them. Stoic resilience is also strengthened by practicing apatheia, which means being calmly uninterested in outside things. We don't have to be insensitive or uninterested in the world around us. Instead, we can develop a detached attitude toward things that are out of our control. We can focus our attention and energy on what we can control, our mood and how we react to situations, by acknowledging that we cannot control external events. Stoic resilience is based on the idea that we can find inner strength and peace of mind even when things are very hard. By working on being good, accepting others, and being calm, we can face the problems in life with courage and determination and find meaning and purpose even in the worst times. Adversity doesn't have to bring us down. It can make us stronger, smarter, and more caring. Pay attention to yourself. Paying attention to yourself is one of the most important rules for having a full and good life. This teaching says that when we are facing our enemies, we should focus on our own inner selves and work on becoming more good, calm, and real. Introspection is one of the most important parts of the Stoic theory. We can learn more about ourselves and how our choices affect our lives and the lives of others if we take time to think about our actions, thoughts, and feelings. Being self-aware helps us figure out what behaviors or habits might be getting in the way of our mental health and personal growth, and change them. Focusing on oneself also means taking responsibility for our own thoughts and actions instead of blaming others or outside events for our issues. The Stoics tell us that we can control how we react to any event. Having a responsible attitude gives us the power to make smart choices that help us reach our goals and live in line with our inner values. Stoic philosophy says that practicing emotional separation is another important part of focusing on oneself. Learning to accept that we can't change many of the things that happen in our lives and finding peace and balance in that means letting go of control. By letting go of our strong attachments to certain results or other people's views, we can experience more inner freedom and enjoy the present moment more. Sophistical thought says that focusing on oneself helps us live a life that is genuine, honest, and satisfying. We can live in line with our core ideals and make a bigger difference in the world around us if we put our own growth and well-being first. We can feel more meaning and happiness in our lives if we accept this self-awareness and duty philosophy. Seneca said, "Whatever can happen at any time can happen today. You're not sad, you're not thankful." The Stoics believed that you are already lucky just for being alive and living your life. So, calling yourself unlucky isn't just a false belief. It's also a sign of laziness, as it means giving up your duty to act, prepare, and win. That's why the Stoics didn't just sit back and wait for luck to come to them. They actively sought it out by taking constant, focused action. Their planning and unwavering dedication to self-improvement put them in a position to take advantage of lucky situations as they came up. Another Stoic saying goes, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." Lesson 1. Why now is important. Seize the day with Stoic wisdom. In the busyness of everyday life, where there are many distractions and time seems to fly by, the Stoic lessons call us back to a basic truth. The present moment is the most important thing in the world. Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius' wisdom is a wake-up call to stop putting things off and accept that they must be done right away. The Stoic practice of taking the day, not tomorrow or the next day, but right now, because that's all we really have, the present, which is our most valuable thing. Putting things off is the biggest waste of life, said Seneca. These words serve as a powerful warning of how short our lives are. Every moment we wait to act on or chance we miss is a piece of our lives that we can't get back. The Stoics tell us to think about our daily deeds and decide if we are really living or just surviving in hope of a future that might never come. This part talks about how to develop a mindset that focuses on the present, encouraging us to act with the accuracy and seriousness of a Roman, as Marcus Aurelius suggests, focusing only on the job at hand with sincere dedication and stoic discipline to avoid putting things off. It's sneaky to put things off because it makes us think there will always be more time. Time to start, time to change our minds, and time to live the life we really want. You are living as if destined to live forever, Marcus Aurelius says in a moving way. This is a mistaken belief that wastes our time. While focusing on the importance of daily self-reflection, making goals that are in line with our core values, and accepting pain as a way to build resilience and growth. This part gives you real Stoic ways to stop putting things off. When we face the fact that we will die, we find the drive to stop sluggishly living our lives and instead run full speed toward our full potential. When you live the Stoic way, you see every day as a new battlefield. The wins are the little steps you take toward becoming a better person, and the benefits are the times you fully experience. It means realizing that the race is on, that the Olympic Games of life are happening right now, and that we can't just watch our lives play out. It is a Stoic practice to seize the day. By doing this, we not only honor the old guide's wisdom, but we also create a life with purpose, meaning, and deep pleasure. Lesson 2. Taking reasonable action. How to seize the day like a Stoic. Stoicism puts a lot of weight on the idea that reason is the key to doing good things and making the most of each day. This lesson examines how the Stoic tradition, especially through Marcus Aurelius's teachings, inspires us to use reason as our compass in daily life. By making smart decisions about what to do and how to act, we can make sure that every moment is used to its best and not wasted on things that don't matter or are out of our control. We'll talk about how reason helps us set goals, focus our efforts on what really matters, and be ready to face each day with purpose and clarity. Reason is a way to get clear on your goals and objectives. The Stoics teach us that clear thinking comes before clear action. In his Meditations, Marcus Aurelius says, "It's important to know the difference between what we can control and what we can't, and to put all of our energy into the things we can control." This part gives us steps we can take in our daily lives to follow the Stoic concept. When we start the day by logically evaluating our goals, tasks, and possible problems, we can set priorities for our actions and make sure that our time is spent on important things. This logical ordering helps us seize the day by making sure that everything we do is planned, has a purpose, and fits with our core values. Using Stoic logic to get past problems. The Stoic way of dealing with problems is not to avoid them, but to deal with them in a sensible way, knowing that problems are chances to grow. Stoicism tells us to use reason to get through things and learn from them. This part of the lesson looks at how to deal with everyday problems in a Stoic way by breaking down problems into their parts, weighing possible answers, and making a decision. By taking this attitude, we turn possible failures into steps forward, seeing every situation as an opportunity to show virtue, develop resilience, and advance our success in seizing the day. tolerance for reason in all situations. You choose to live your life according to Stoic beliefs by approaching each day with reason and purpose. Making every choice a representation of our dedication to ethics and self-improvement, it entails getting up each morning, determined to apply reason to everything we experience. Let us try to follow the concept of reasonable behavior in every part of our lives as we learn more about the Stoic way. We not only take the day, but we also build a life that has value, is satisfying, and works with the natural order of the world when we do these things. By following the Stoic principle of logical action, we can make the most of every day and turn everyday moments into chances to grow in amazing ways. Lesson 3. Making the most of every chance. The way to grow like a Stoic. The core of Stoic thought is a deep respect for the present moment and the knowledge that behind every challenge lies a secret chance. This lesson encourages us to think like Stoics do and seize the day, not just when things are going well and we're happy, but especially when things are going badly. Marcus Aurelius said that the problems we face should not just be dealt with, they should be turned into opportunities for self-development and success. Here, we'll talk about how to find and take advantage of the secret possibilities in every problem, making what seems like a loss into a chance to grow, using obstacles as motivation to get things done. For Stoics, problems are not things that get in the way. They are things that get us moving. They are the universe's way of asking us to show our virtues, such as patience, resilience, and courage, and to use our smarts to get through them. This part goes into more detail about the Stoic practice of facing issues head-on, showing how every problem is a chance to practice taking the day. Dealing with our problems not only helps us get through them, but it also helps us grow as people and strengthens our resolve to live in line with reason and nature. Useful Stoic ways to make the most of each day. In that case, how can we live by the Stoic theory that every problem is an opportunity? This part of the lesson gives you practical ways to live by this concept. It includes activities like contemplation of adversity, in which we imagine problems that might come up and how we would deal with them. This helps us get ready mentally and emotionally for future problems. We also talk about the idea of the inner citadel, which is a mental fortress where we can go to get away, recover, and come back stronger, ready to take advantage of the chances that lie hidden in our trials. We also talk about how important it is to keep a view from above, which means putting our problems in the bigger picture by thinking about them in relation to our lives and the universe. This helps us remember that problems come and go, but our ability to grow from them lasts forever. Having energy and a goal in life. To live the Stoic way, you have to decide every morning to not only face the difficulties of the day, but also to look for the chances they bring. It helps us understand that taking the day is more than just enjoying the good times. It means embracing all of our experiences, good and bad, knowing that each has something important to teach us. If we want to follow the Stoic way, we should have the courage to face our problems head-on, the wisdom to see the chances they hide, and the energy to take them for the good of ourselves and everyone else. 4. Lesson 4. Self-reflection as a Stoic practice. Developing daily awareness for living with purpose. According to Stoicism, the key to making the most of each day is not just what we do, but also how we think and feel. Marcus Aurelius believed in daily self-examination, and his works show how important it is to start the day with a moment of thought. In this lesson, we'll look at how the Stoic practice of morning self-reflection can help you start a good, focused day. We can be ready to take advantage of every chance that comes our way if we set aside time every morning to think about our goals, evaluate our ideals, and make sure that our actions are in line with our greatest good. developing mindfulness and being present. Thanks to the fast-paced nature of modern life, it's simple to lose touch with the present and forget about our inner and outer experiences. Through its focus on mindfulness and present, Stoicism offers a way to heal this gap. In this section, we look at how adding Stoic mindfulness to our daily lives can help us live more fully in the present moment, accepting each moment with awareness and joy. By practicing present, we make sure that our actions are planned and in line with our goals. This helps us make the most of each day and live in harmony with nature. Practices for reflection for evening review. In the same way that the morning is a new chance to practice Stoic values, the evening is a great time to think about things and go over them again. Stoics think about their deeds, thoughts, and reactions to the events of the day at the end of the day, along with questions for self-inquiry that support responsibility, learning from our mistakes, and getting ready for the next day with renewed purpose and clarity. This part of the lesson lays out an organized way to do an evening review. This practice of reflection helps us remember what we've learned that day and strengthens our resolve to grow as people and live a good life. Relying on Stoic thought in everyday life. Stoicism tells us that to really take the day, we need to do things for other people and think about ourselves. This two-pronged method makes sure that our lives are not only full of things to do, but also have meaning and are in line with our core beliefs. As we go forward, let us make a promise to use Stoic self-reflection as a strong tool for self-improvement, mindfulness, and living a meaningful life every day. We live up to the Stoic ideal of living in balance with the world when we do things that make our own lives better and the lives of those around us better as well. We've seen in this lesson how the Stoic practices of self-reflection and mindfulness are important parts of learning how to seize the day. The Stoic virtue of moderation is taught in Lesson 5, Getting Past Your Desires to Seize the Day. One of the four main Stoic principles is temperance, which means controlling yourself and being moderate in all areas of your life. Being moderate helps us control our wants and urges, so we can put our energy into things that really matter. This lesson talks about how developing moderation makes us better at seizing the day. By being careful and selective about what we do, we match ourselves with our greatest goals and ideals. This way, every choice and action we make leads to a meaningful and fulfilling day. How moderation can help you see things clearly. Temperance isn't just about not giving in. It's a purposeful virtue that helps you see clearly and find your way in a world full of temptations and distractions. Temperance serves as a light, assisting us in making wise decisions. This part talks about how practicing moderation clears our minds of the things that get in the way of us seeing and taking advantage of chances. Using examples from Stoic lessons, we'll look at how keeping our wants, purchases, and responses in check makes for a better setting for concentration and getting things done. Ideas for developing daily moderation. We have to work at being temperate every day. It takes practice and awareness. You can learn how to be more temperate by doing things like setting clear limits, practicing careful consumption, and regularly evaluating your own progress, self-assessment. By doing these things, we can live a healthy life without the extremes that can make us lose focus on our goals and cloud our judgment. We can use moderation to help us make the most of each day, focus on what's important, and find joy in things that are simple and in balance. With aim and balance, you can live. To live a Stoic life means to use moderation as a guide for what you do. It's a call to be smart about the choices we make, to work hard to reach our goals, and to interact with the world around us in a way that has meaning and balance. Let's keep going on our Stoic path and try to show the virtue of moderation in every part of our lives. Not only does this improve our own health, but it also leads to a more thoughtful, calm, and focused way of life that prepares us for every new day's possibilities. Lesson 6. How the Stoics accept fate. How to find your way through life with acceptance and action. A strong way to live your life to the best is to accept fate, or amor fati, as it comes your way. Being able to accept life's ups and downs with grace means seeing everything, good and bad, as part of a natural order that we should accept rather than fight. But this acceptance doesn't mean we should be passive. Instead, it pushes us to find the strength and chance in our situations, no matter how hard they are. When we love our fate, we connect ourselves with the flow of life. This gives us the peace and reason to face each day. By keeping a calm mind, we can face life with an open heart, ready to take in and learn from whatever comes our way. Focusing on what we can control, our actions, our reactions, and how we feel about life's events, teaches us to be strong. Building up our resilience in this way helps us move forward and make the most of every moment and chance that comes our way. Acting within the limits of fate is what amor fati means. It goes hand in hand with the Stoic task to be good within the limits of what fate has given us. We don't have to give up our goals or dreams when we accept our fate. In fact, it gives us the strength to go after our goals with more energy, focus, and thanks for the present moment. This stern wisdom teaches us to see every day as a gift, a one-of-a-kind chance to learn, grow, and contribute. It tells us that while we cannot control the wind of fate, we can change our sails and focus our efforts on doing things that are important to us and that are in line with our values and goals. When we think this way, we don't try to fight what's going to happen. Instead, we seize the day by integrating our individual projects into the bigger picture of life with acceptance, joy, and a firm resolve to live fully, no matter what. This lesson from Stoic philosophy gives us a freeing view that lets us live our lives with a deep sense of control and happiness, seizing every chance to act, love, and live with purpose. How to use Stoic courage in Lesson 7. Being brave and determined every day is part of the Stoic trait of courage. Being brave and determined every day isn't just about facing physical danger. It's also about facing the problems of life. This lesson looks at how Stoic courage gives us the strength to face each day with a heart that is strong against fear and doubt. According to Stoicism, courage is not being afraid, but choosing to do good things even though you are scared. Stoic courage means facing our responsibilities, goals, and problems head-on without letting fear of failing or the unknown stop us from living our lives to the fullest. We don't miss out on chances for development, learning, and participation because of this brave connection with life. To be courageous like a Stoic, we have to be aware of our fears and weaknesses and make a firm decision to act in line with our values and goals. This part talks about how to develop this kind of courage in our daily lives so that we can avoid being paralyzed and instead take action with purpose, savoring each day with unmatched energy and determination. Stoic methods for increasing your daily strength. Building up your resilience is a key part of developing Stoic courage. This means building up the mental and emotional strength to handle the ups and downs of life with calmness. One way that Stoicism suggests we can build this resilience is through the practice of premeditatio malorum, in which we think about possible problems and practice how we will handle them. This mental planning not only takes the mystery out of our fears, but it also gives us a way to deal with problems. Stoic lessons also give us the courage to think about how both problems and pleasures pass away. This helps us see things from a more fair point of view, which makes it easier to stay strong when things change. As we incorporate these Stoic habits into our daily lives, we increase our determination to face each day with courage, accepting all the chances and challenges that come our way. The lesson makes a strong point of how Stoic courage can help us live each day to the fullest, filled with meaningful action, personal growth, and the brave chase of our greatest goals. Lesson 8. The Stoic advice to take advantage of chances. Stoic wisdom isn't just about learning new things. It's also about using judgment and understanding in our daily lives to make the most of each day in a worthwhile way. This conservative wisdom helps us figure out what we can control and what we can't, so we can put our energy into doing things that are in line with our values and goals. It gives us the courage to see every day as a patchwork of chances to be good, help other people, and develop as people. When we follow Stoic wisdom, we make sure that every choice, task, and encounter is made with clarity. This way, our days are not just spent, but lived with purpose and satisfaction. This part talks about how Stoic wisdom can help us make the most of the present moment by guiding our decisions and actions toward what really matters. It tells us that taking the day means giving our values careful thought, having the courage to act on them, and being calm enough to accept the results. Daily reflection is a Stoic practice that helps us keep talking to ourselves about our progress, failures, and lessons learned. This makes wisdom a part of our everyday lives, putting Stoic wisdom to use in everyday life. Using Stoic wisdom in our daily lives means making a conscious effort to pay close attention to and think about each moment. This means stopping to think about our actions and how they fit with our inner values. This way, we can make sure we're not just reacting to outside events, but also taking the initiative to live a meaningful and good life. As a Stoic, you should always ask yourself if the things you're doing are good for you and others. This pushes you to live beyond the temporary joys of fame, money, and fame. Making decisions that show our desire to live a good life, such as being kind, having patience, and acting honestly in all our interactions, is the focus of this wisdom. Stoic wisdom helps us live better lives and has a good effect on those around us. This is how we live up to the Stoic ideal of living in balance with nature and other people. To sum up, this lesson shows how Stoic wisdom can change our lives by telling us to live in the present, make smart decisions, and welcome every chance to grow with open arms and a clear mind. In this way, we not only handle the challenges of life with ease, but we also create a road filled with important accomplishments and a deep sense of joy in the things we do every day. Lesson 9. The Stoic balance, getting work and play together. The Stoic idea of balance tells us that to make the most of each day, we need to make sure that our work and play are balanced. Being quiet is a new way to look at how to find happiness in both our tasks and our free time in a world that often values constant work over well-being. This lesson focuses on the Stoic idea that real happiness comes from living a good life, which includes striving for virtue at work and enjoying free time as a chance to think, grow, and have fun. By practicing the Stoic virtue of balance, we learn to handle our daily obligations with wisdom, making sure that our attention to work doesn't lead to burnout, and that we spend our free time in ways that make us feel good and make our lives better. This tough balance gives us the courage to live each day with purpose, knowing that work and rest are both important parts of a life that fully accepts the present. Creating a routine that makes you happy. Taking a serious approach to combining work and play means making a schedule that includes time for both work and play in a way that fits with our values and goals. The Stoics teach us that taking the day means giving our chores our full attention while also letting ourselves relax and enjoy the simpler times. Setting clear limits between work and play, being self-disciplined to focus on our duties during work hours, and letting ourselves completely disconnect during rest times are all parts of this. By doing this, we can create a life that is successful on the outside and peaceful and happy on the inside. This lesson on the Stoic balance between work and leisure can help people who want to add more meaning and pleasure to their daily lives. It shows that the key to savoring each moment is to give our full attention to every part of our lives. 10th lesson, living with purpose, the Stoic promise to grow every day. Stoicism ends with the promise to live each day with purpose, led by the 4 main values of wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation. This last lesson emphasizes how important it is to live by these ideals every day, so that we don't just see each moment as a series of hours, but as a chance to keep growing as a person and make a difference in the world. According to Stoicism, a meaningful life is made up of actions that are in line with our core values, choices that are clear and well thought out, and exchanges that are kind and understanding. By living in a serious way, we make sure that every day is filled with efforts to make ourselves and the world around us better. We see obstacles as opportunities to grow and see every moment as a valuable chance to do good. From this point of view, the ordinary becomes important, and we are encouraged to do every job, no matter how small, with a feeling of purpose and a dedication to doing our best. Stoic ideas say that to live with purpose, we must understand how everything is linked and know that it is our duty to live in balance with nature and other people, utilizing the present to leave a heritage of virtue and wisdom. To face each day with Stoic determination, you have to wake up with the sun, aware of the chances for growth, learning and service that each day brings. It means making plans that are in line with our greatest goals, going about our day with resilience and hope, and thinking about what we've learned and how far we've come in the evening. From a Stoic point of view, taking the day is all about this never-ending pattern of action, thought, and growth. Intentionally living means being aware of how short life is and how important it is to make every moment count. Stoic wisdom tells us to commit to daily growth. This not only makes our own lives better, but it also encourages those around us to seek a life with meaning and purpose. In this last lesson, we are asked to fully enjoy every day, to put our all into our work, our relationships, and our own growth, and to go to sleep every night feeling satisfied that we have lived our lives according to our values. By doing this, we live up to the Stoic ideal of a good life, full of virtue, joy, and a strong desire to make the world and ourselves better. As we wrap up this journey together, remember that the path to inner peace and resilience is ongoing. The principles you've learned are tools for life, ready to be used whenever you face the storms that come your way. Keep practicing, stay patient with yourself, and remember, the power to maintain calm and strength lies within you. Don't forget to revisit these lessons whenever you need a reminder of your capability to navigate life's ups and downs. Each step you take, no matter how small, is a step towards a more serene and empowered existence. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Keep moving forward, embracing the challenges with a steady heart and an open mind. Here's to your continued growth and transformation.